like if there's money involved, suddenly it's okay.
Well, Joe, again, on the H20s, I think H20s are now pretty far down the NVIDIA stack. So
it could be much more advanced. Yeah.
It's not a national security risk. And what we would like, and what the industry has made a very strong case for, is for China, for the rest of the world, including the global South, to develop the U.S. standard as the global standard. I remember when Japan led the world in cell phone technology, and it didn't become a global standard. And for a long time, the Japanese technology got very isolated. The last thing we want is a Huawei Belt and Road, where Huawei is selling chips to the rest of the world, and U.S. technology is excluded.
Mr. Secretary, I have a couple of questions. One is, there's a new report out. It relates to NVIDIA about a new chip they're trying to build called the B30A, which apparently is more sophisticated than the H20, which they want to sell to China. Have they come to you about that chip?
That would be, Andrew, that'd be through Commerce. I haven't seen that yet. I was watching you earlier this morning, so I'm sure we'll be discussing it, and it will require a license to do that.
Right. Well, then weigh in on this, since you did, it sounds like you heard maybe some of the discussion we were having earlier, and it relates to Intel and the potential 10% stake that the U.S. Might take in that company. And what steps you think either the White House or the administration might otherwise take to try to persuade or aggressively sell Intel chips to U.S. companies? Because one of the biggest issues about Intel thus far has been that they're not selling as many chips as they should. And the Biden administration actually tried to put some pressure on big tech companies to buy these chips. And a lot of those companies said, we don't think the chips are good enough.
Yeah, and the last thing we're going to do is put pressure, is take a stake and then try to drum up business. The stake would be a conversion of the grants, and maybe increase the investment into Intel to help stabilize the company for chip production here in the U.S. There's no talk of trying to force companies to buy from Intel.
But no concern that, if you prop up a company that deserves not to make it, that it's just another example of almost too big to fail. Is Intel in the past, the government hasn't been great at picking winners and losers, but you think because of the foundry that Intel has, it's that important that the government actually helps to keep that viable?
Joe, there are industries that we have to onshore. I think you and I are the only ones in this conversation old enough to remember the Arab oil embargo in the 70s and gas lines. And I would say that the single point of failure for the global economy is that 99% of the advanced chips in the world are made in Taiwan. And for national security, we have to stop that single point of failure.
Mr. Secretary, have you had any, just changing, once again, like I said, we try to get as much as we can in. Have you interviewed anyone for Jay Powell's replacement in recent days? Can you give us any light on where that stands? And after the PPI numbers we had last week, do you still think that this is the time for a 50 basis point cut, or at least 25 at the next meeting?
Well, Joe, a lot of things there, Joe, so let's dissect that.
Okay.
In terms and then on PPI, first of all, since President Trump came into office, there were 5 very tame PPI numbers, and a big component of this month's PPI number was investment services, which just means the market went up a lot.
Right, in terms of, since it's, a lot of it is 2 and 20 or whatever, I guess maybe that
Well,
makes sense.
even just 1%, if the portfolio is up 10%, then it's up.
But
Mr. Secretary, you started at the beginning describing President Putin as your uncontrollable neighbor. You kind of brought over and showed your gun case to. I know part of what the administration has done has tried to make it tougher for Russia to be able to sell its oil. It cracked down pretty tough on India, which is importing a lot of Russian oil, but not so much when it comes to China. Is China in the wrong for importing so much Russian oil as well? I think they import just as much as India does.
Well, let's go back and look at the history, though, Becky. And look, China importing it is suboptimal. But if you go back and look pre-22, pre-invasion, 13% of China's oil was already coming from Russia. Now it's 16. So China has a diversified input of their oil. If you go back and look now, I believe India had less than 1% of their oil, 1%, and now I believe it's up to 42. So
wow.
India is just profiteering, or they are just profiteering. They are reselling. They've made $16 billion in excess profits, some of the richest families in India. So this is a completely different thing. Like this Indian, what I would call the Indian arbitrage, buying cheap Russian oil, reselling it as product, has just sprung up during the war, which is unacceptable.
Mr. Secretary, just to touch on another topic that I think we have talked about, at least I think maybe we talked about with actually the president, but I'm curious where you land and just how it would be effectuated, this idea of using some of the tariff money to effectively create a dividend for American citizens. A, are you an advocate for that relative to using that money to pay down the debt? And B, if you are, how would it work in practice?
So, Andrew, I think President Trump has talked about that, but he and I haven't, and I think at a point we're going to be able to do it. As you would have seen, U.S. ratings were affirmed last night because of the tariff income, but President Trump and I are laser focused on paying down the debt. So I've been saying that tariff revenue could be $300 billion this year. I'm going to have to revise that up substantially. So I think that we're going to bring down the deficit to GDP. We'll start paying down debt. And then at a point that can be used as an offset to the American people.
You said you might have to revise. Is it up? How high?
I'm not prepared to give you the number now, but it could be substantial.
I know you have an 8 a.m. I was going to ask you. I can't help myself. I asked you about inflation. We had someone on the other day that looked at the revised employment numbers and said you could almost make the case that there might have been a lull, but it's starting to turn back up. Is that what we want, or does that make it harder for the Fed to cut? What do we? I guess we want full employment with low inflation so that the Fed can cut. I can answer for you, I guess.
Well, that's a good answer, Joe. So I think we can go back to. I think that we could either go back to the 90s where we had good low inflationary growth, or back to President Trump's first term. But I think the real problem here is we're seeing some distributional aspects to the higher rates, as your earlier guest said, especially in housing and for lower income households with high credit card debt. So we're seeing this big CapEx boom. Part of it's AI, part of it's the tax bill. And so CapEx is doing well, but households, home building is struggling. And you were asking me about interviewing Fed candidates, and there's the ability. Everyone has the ability to look at the current data, but let's just think about if we keep constraining home building, then what kind of inflation does that create 1 or 2 years out? So a cut here could facilitate a boom or a pickup in home building, which will keep prices down 1-2 years down the road.
All right. once again, I know we went long. Thank you. Apologize to people that schedule these things for you, Mr. Treasury Secretary. Thanks for all your time. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Okay. A programming note. We were talking about the purview of some things being with Commerce. Well, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is going to be on Squawk on the Street. And Andrew, you can send those guys your question about that more advanced chip.
Yep.
Yeah, and ask the Commerce Secretary.
All right, when we come back, we've got some deal news. Nexstar Media Group is buying rival Tegna for $6.2 billion. The purchase price of $22 a share represents a 31% premium to Tegna's 30-day average stock price before the reports of a possible deal. There is some news of a potential spoiler in this, but Nexstar's CEO will join us later this hour. Squawk Box will be right back.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's 200th store with the entire Bob's family across the country.
So stop in for the latest styles
And top-notch features.
at mind-blowing prices.
and free treats for the whole family in our cafe.
I am naturally biased because I just joined Ridge as the chief creative partner, but I'm just going to speak facts here. It's slim, it's RFID blocking, it's awesome, it's comfortable, I love it. I carry it every day. And then every wallet at Ridge.com has like an unlimited lifetime warranty, so you don't have to worry about it falling apart. Check it out at Ridge.com.
I know how to make slick-looking goggles/glasses, but I have no idea how to make slick-looking social media stuff.
But GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create social content out of thin air, like this one.
Walton Goggins goggle glasses are great gifts for all guys and gals.
You buy low, sell high, jump on that trend, ride the wave. Stop. That's not how investing works. Wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing.
Travel can be a nightmare. Luckily, you rented your car on Turo. Skip the rental counter with Turo. Rent just about any car, just about anywhere.
I have Usher syndrome, a rare condition that's causing me to lose all of my vision and hearing at the same time. I'm a fighter, trying to hold on to what I still have. But I can't do it alone.
To the end zone for the touchdown.
Oh my goodness!
Coming up, Nexstar founder and CEO Perry Sook on his bid to buy rival Tegna and a possible spoiler to the deal. And later, Skybridge Capital founder Anthony Scaramucci is going to join us from the second annual Wyoming Blockchain Symposium, where the state is launching its own stablecoin. More on that in the crypto markets coming up at 8:40 a.m. Eastern Time. We're coming right back after this.
What's the worst phone call an exec can get?
Reach. What?
Scott?
Right now, we are completely offline and there is a ransom.
How much?
So how are you going to recover from that? What if you could instantly rewind back to before the attack? With Commvault, you can do it in just minutes.
Like it never happened.
It's the fastest, most complete recovery anywhere, so you can be a continuous business.
Your record label is taking off, but so is your sound engineer. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
It's about political
American
price.
Aging support starts here with the innovative nitric oxide science pioneered by Human, supporting your body from the heart out through circulation, blood flow, blood pressure, and energy. Results you can feel, science you can trust. Get started today at livehuman.com.
Seabeth, your company started in the kitchen.
Hello?
Now it has 3. Your team of 5 grew to an army of 500. And that's your logo, right there in marble.
That's big.
To grow your business from big to bigger, you need an advisor built for the middle market.
Our data shows that this deal works.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Accounting, advisory, insurance, and more. CBIZ, insights that impact.
For the best tailgates in Texas, you need the highest quality beef and HEB certified meat cutters like me.
And me. As experts in all things meat, we hand cut and grind fresh beef 7 days a week.
Need a custom order for game day? We'll make the cut.
We'll even tell you the best way to cook, season, and serve it up.
High quality beef and custom cuts. No one does tailgating like HEB. One more reason that?
At my HEB, here, everything's better.
During the Rooms to Go Labor Day mattress sale, buy this Kingsdown mattress any size and get a second mattress free. That's 2 for the price of 1. Buy the queen size Kingsdown for $8.95. Get the second same size or smaller free. Buy the king size, get another king or smaller free. Buy a full or twin size, the second one's free. It's buy one, get one. Plus get other great mattress buys on the best brands during the Rooms to Go Labor Day mattress sale.
We are approaching 8 a.m. on the East Coast, and you're watching Squawk Box right here on CNBC. I'm Becky Quick, along with Joe Kernan and Andrew Ross Sorkin. And among today's top stories, we are just about 30 minutes away from housing starts and building permits data. We'll have those numbers and the instant reaction. Starbucks is going to be giving all salaried employees a modest 2% raise this year. The company telling Reuters that this will apply to all corporate staff, workers in manufacturing and distribution, and store managers. Under the CEO, Brian Nichols, Starbucks has cut some jobs, tightened dress codes, and is trying to keep costs under control as it invests in reducing wait times and improving the customer experience in stores. And OpenAI has launched a subscription plan in India priced at $4.57 a month. That is its lowest price globally. That new plan is called ChatGPT Go. It provides expanded access to the latest model, GPT-5, also some other features at a lower cost.
Let's check the futures this morning. That may have something to do with Home Depot up now, or where is it still down? Then it's in spite of Home Depot. Actually, it is up now. It's up 5 points. So that the Dow has really been kind of buffeted by the move in Home Depot, Frank Holland, because it's a $400 stock, basically. So a 2% move is pretty big and affects the averages. Good morning.
Absolutely. Good morning again, Joe. Absolutely. You're front running me, though. So we're going to start with Home Depot. As you can see right here, shares are front Home Depot. They're up about 1 1/3%. Home Depot is sticking by its full year outlook, even as the company came in just slightly shy of estimates for both earnings and for revenue. The report's Home Depot's first since May of 2014 to fall short on both of those metrics. And the company is signaling it's still waiting for a kind of a greater pickup in home improvement activity, maybe a rate cut that might juice the housing market. But that's a long story. Right now, shares are up about 1 1/4%. Year to date, shares are up about 2 3/4%. All right, one of your top stories today, Japan's SoftBank buying $2 billion worth of Intel stock at $23 a share. Intel saying it will be, quote, a primary issuance of common stock. That means 87 million new shares, giving the Japanese owner about 2% of Intel. You can see shares are up about 5 1/3% right now. Shares are also up before the bell, showing that SoftBank's vote of confidence is really outweighing any concerns about share dilution. Moving on, Evercore is upgrading Caterpillar and bringing a very hefty price target increase along with it. Analysts are raising their target more than $100. It was $373. Now it's $476. You see the company's trading at about $420 right now. The firm also added Caterpillar to its 5 favorite stocks, and the company's volume leverage and geographic mix is a bright spot in a difficult construction segment overall. Shares of Caterpillar right now up about 1 3/4%. Year to date, up nearly 16%. Back over to you.
All right, Frank, thank you. We appreciate that. We were listening, but we have, we multitask. We were talking about some other stuff too.
And we're sorry, we didn't mean to front run you.
No, we didn't mean
okay. Guys, listen, you have a big deal in local TV to talk about. You guys got to get to it.
Okay, here we go.
That's right. From Frank, who started in Alaska. Who started in Alaska on.
We got a broadcast deal to tell you about and a possible spoiler as well to talk about this morning. A short while ago, Nexstar Media Group said that it's going to buy rival Tegna in a cash deal valued at $6.2 billion. The transaction still subject to regulatory approval and Tegna shareholder approval. Meanwhile, late yesterday, the Wall Street Journal reporting that Sinclair, one of the nation's largest owners of local TV stations, wants to merge its TV business with Tegna. So there's a lot going on here to unpack. For more details, we are joined now in an exclusive interview by Perry Sook. He is the founder, chairman, and CEO of Nexstar. Good morning to you. You have a deal, but maybe not. Where are you at this point?
Well, the deal was voted on and approved unanimously by both sets of boards of directors of both Tegna and of Nexstar last night. So we will begin the regulatory approval process as soon as this morning. And as you know, that requires FCC license transfers and other regulatory approvals. So it's probably a 6 to 9 month, perhaps even 12-month approval process. And that's what we begin work on today.
We'll get to the Sinclair piece in just one moment, but just walk through the numbers, the math of why putting these two companies together makes sense in your mind, and how we, the public and the investor class, should think about these two industries or these two companies amid an industry that I think a lot of people are concerned about.
Well, first and foremost, Nexstar has chosen to focus on the local part of the media ecosystem, which I like to say is the least sexy but most sticky part of the media ecosystem. We produce local news, and the combined companies will produce in excess of 450,000 hours of local news on an annual basis. And we help local businesses sell stuff. Nexstar alone has relationships with over 40,000 SMBs across the country. And we believe that business is durable, and those touch points and local relationships are very important and also very sticky. So we believe also that broadcast news is essential to this country and a free democracy, independent local news, and that broadcast TV is basically the last bastion of local news at the local level. And our goal is to become a big company, a bigger company, and hopefully be able to compete on a level playing field with big tech that is pervasive in all aspects of media, advertising, programming, sports rights. And so this is our goal, both to play both offense and defense, to maintain a vital industry for America and a vital source of information.
Perry, how do you think regulators are going to look at this deal? By my count, and maybe you have a different count, there's about a dozen markets where there's overlap. And so there's a question, of course, about what happens to the news or the two news networks, if you will, that compete in those markets, for example.
Well, there are 35 markets in this transaction where both Tegna and Nexstar operate television stations. So there will be a combination of those into one facility. Think of it, if you will, as operating two newspapers off of a single printing press. And again, our focus here is on increasing the amount of local product, giving us, with two stations, more time period flexibility when we can air local programming and local news and basically meet the viewers where they are, whether it's on a broadcast or digital platform, with our trusted product. So Nexstar has a track record of doing this. About half of the markets that we operate in today, Nexstar derives an economic benefit from more than one television station through a series of sharing arrangements where historically outright ownership of more than two stations or two stations in a market has been prohibited. And as you know, the Eighth Circuit Court basically vacated in July the two-station rule, or the two top big four station rule that prohibited an operator from owning 2 of the top 4 rated stations in a marketplace. So we feel as we move through this regulatory process that we're meeting deregulation kind of where it is at this point. We think it's evolving, and we think our case is compelling, not only for removal of the national ownership cap, which keeps broadcasting to 39% of the U.S. population, when we compete with big tech that is pervasive and able to reach every screen in every backpack, living room, and office in America. And so we just want to level the playing field.
Right. How much autonomy do the different units locally have? And the reason I ask is, I don't know if you recall, is actually Sinclair stations, not any of yours, I don't think, where there was sort of a repetition politically of, I don't know if you remember this, so many of the sort of messages that were coming from dozens of local markets. The reporters, if you will, would sort of say very, very similar things. And there was a question mark about, in a national, here we are talking about local news, but clearly controlled by one big national enterprise, and how we, as the American public, are supposed to think about that.
Yeah.
It's an interesting development. We are, we're trying to get, I think we might have just lost Perry for a moment there. We're going to get him back in a moment. But do you remember this? There were, and you'd see, they literally show each local market basically saying the same words.
The same words.
Exactly. And therefore, even though they're local, is it a good, from a public policy perspective, a good thing for one company to control all the local markets,
Andrew,
right?
It's perfect as a reason for my app that you're still working on.
Oh, yes.
Because it's a conspiracy. It's the app. Oh, you missed it.
I am coding. I am
to screen out all the mainstream media liberal bias from news.
I am vibe coding an app.
I try to do that. He's going to do it so you can pay $4.99
vibe coding an app
for it.
Called the Kernan MSM Truth app.
Yeah.
Which basically looks at every national story and then gives you the most conservative view of that story.
That's like knee-jerk reaction.
We might change it. Maybe we're going to change it to the Kernan MSM Now app.
Oh, wow. I think we might have gotten Perry back. Perry, you with us?
Did we talk long enough to get him back?
Well, okay. I think we're going to get him back. We have a lot more questions, including about, we were talking about Sinclair with this example, but Sinclair now trying potentially to jump into this deal and what that would mean for the price tag of the deal.
I want to talk to him about the retransmission content revenue streams that he's the godfather of. They've come under attack, so I'd like to get his thoughts on where we're headed.
Okay, let's do this. Why don't we take a commercial break, and maybe we can get him back, see if the technology gods will help us.
I'm back on board with local news. Well, NBC at 5. I can't watch anything else anymore. I just can't. It's too much. It's too much what happens at 5. So I'm back to watching weather.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Janice.
We'll come back.
Oh, see?
Wait.
Guess what?
See?
We might have gotten him.
I told you if I talk on.
Perry, you're back. The technology gods have helped us.
The gremlins of the broadcasting television business. I'm here.
Okay, so Perry, here's where we were going with this. We were talking about it actually while we were trying to hook the link back up. So I don't know if you recall, but there was a whole brouhaha actually around Sinclair. This is many years ago, about how, and this went to the question about autonomy among local channels and how much control the sort of national business has over these local channels. And Sinclair, it sounded like, was effectively messaging out, and you saw their broadcasters actually in all sorts of markets saying very similar things about politics in the country. And I was curious how much autonomy you want the local news units to have after a transaction like this.
Well, we are first and foremost a local service business, and so the tastes and needs of the community in Portland, Oregon are different than Tampa, Florida, where we operate stations. And so we delegate authority and autonomy to our local market managers and our local newsrooms, and I do not dictate content. No one in the organization dictates any content. We work together on group projects, but no one's handed a script and said, here, read this, and it goes across all of the markets in which we operate. Right. The only times we've ever coordinated coverage is around public service or telethons or things like that, but certainly not in the editorial product of the newsroom.
Tell me, to the extent that Sinclair actually does jump into this, what that means. We could talk about breakup fees and the like, but what the chance is that there really is a spoiler involved, And to the extent that some shareholders are going to say, how much higher can you go, sir? How much higher can you go?
Well, I spoke with the chairman of TEGNA when the unsolicited offer came in. It was an unnamed and unspecified offer, but he said, we received this, but we are committed to completing the transaction that we are in the midst of with you. And we have a completed transaction, signed documents, ready to file for regulatory approval. Anyone else would be at the front end of that process. I think you also would have to look at balance sheet capability, financing. We have committed financing from Bank of America, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. So I think the board considered all of that in their deliberations last night and voted unanimously to support our transaction.
Perry, let me ask you about the retransmission of content revenue stream funds that you really kind of invented. You were the first one to come up with these fees. People call you the godfather of these fees, and it's been a big issue that the major companies have kind of been pushing back on the local stations. In fact, Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, wrote a letter directly to Bob Iger at Disney earlier this year saying, reporting indicates that certain of ABC's affiliate agreements are set to expire at the end of this year. My understanding is that ABC is attempting to extract onerous financial and operational concessions from local broadcast TV stations under the threat of terminating long-held affiliations, which could result in blackouts and other harms to local consumers of broadcast news and content. He goes on to say that this is not how Congress envisioned the retransmission consent process working. Where do things stand right now? This has been a pretty important lifeline for local TV stations. How are those negotiations going, and what's happening with the FCC and Congress on it?
Well, they're generally two separate negotiations, Becky. First of all, there's the television station owner or operator dealing with the cable or satellite company to negotiate for the revenues, then turn around and negotiate with the networks for the split of that revenue or how much would be then tributed over to the networks. And we pay the networks for two things. Their programming, and historically we've paid for geographic exclusivity in a local marketplace, whether we're in Tampa or in Abilene, Texas, the exclusive right to air that programming from that network in that geographic area. Well, exclusivity has, for all intents and purposes, gone away with things being ported over either simultaneously or with minimal delay to streaming platforms. And so my discussions with the networks have been the less exclusive your programming, the less valuable it is to me. My bread and butter is my local news, and that's where I continue to focus my time and treasury. So it's contentious negotiations on both sides, always has been. It's a business of scale. Distribution revenue is a business of scale, and dealing with the networks is a business of scale. This company on a pro forma basis will be the largest affiliate of each of the big four, as well as CW Network. And with that scale, I think comes the ability to leverage the negotiations to a much more equitable place.
So the future looks good as long as you have enough heft to be able to stand up in those negotiations?
I think that has played out over the last dozen years or so as our company has gotten bigger through the acquisition of Media General and then Tribune in 2019. And so we see it play out in the marketplace on a day-to-day basis. And these are private contractual negotiations. And we appreciate Chairman Carr asking the question. We appreciate Chairman Carr's leadership in examining the national ownership cap. He has a refresh the record proceeding that's open at the FCC right now on the national ownership cap. And we also think that the in-market restrictions that have heretofore been in place due to antiquated approaches to what actually is television or what is a market will also be examined and we feel updated during the pendency of this transaction, not only with the Eighth Circuit Court ruling, but also the FCC's initiative to eliminate outdated and outmoded regulations.
Okay. Perry, we want to thank you. We'll leave it there. We'll get the transmissions gods to help us in the future. We hope to continue to talk to you as the deal progresses. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
When we come back, the next step toward peace between Ukraine and Russia. Former NATO Supreme Allied Commander Wesley Clark will join us. Squawk Box will be right back.
Investing. You buy low, sell high, jump on that trend, ride the wave.
Stop.
That's not how investing works. You're not a child playing a game. This is grown-up business. The real thing. You know wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing, right?
When it's time to start your business, it's time for Shopify. Designed with easy to customize themes, sell everywhere people shop, and never miss a sale with the world's best converting checkout. See why millions of businesses sell with Shopify. Start your free trial today.
I never thought this would happen.
When disaster takes control of your life,
we got you.
Get it back with a single call to the team that shows up fast to make things right. ServPro, like it never even happened.
Hey, I'm Daniel, one of the founders of Ridge. My dad and I realized that most wallets are falling apart, stuffed to the max, and barely fit in your back pocket. So we set out to create something better. Ridge is built to last a lifetime and is the perfect balance of modern style and durability. Find yours at ridge.com.
Haunted Bedtime, the newest Disney Princess collection, arrived at Rooms to Go Kids with iconic beds starting at $477, crafted with golden accents, LED lights, sparkling canopies, and more. Every room is full of magic. Every night feels like a bedtime ball. Each day, a new adventure. Creating a fairy tale escape has never been easier. With fast delivery and expert setup, you get the royal treatment. Happily Ever After starts here. Shop the Disney Princess Collection at Rooms to Go Kids.
Drive Time makes it easy to buy a car.
Yeah, already approved. That was easy.
Yep, and you can even customize your own terms on every car.
Oh, there's a little slider thing. I can change my down payment?
Yeah, and we have thousands of cars under 15 grand.
I never had this kind of power. Boom! Lower! Lower! Lowest down option. Low monthly payment option. I'm making my own deal on all these cars!
Welcome to Car Buying Made Easy. This is a commercial. Go get your real deal at drivetime.com.
The White House says it's working to schedule a meeting between Russian President Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky. Joining us right now is the former NATO Supreme Allied Commander Wesley Clark. He's a retired four-star Army general and now chairman and CEO of consulting firm Wesley K. Clark and Associates. And General, let me just ask what you thought. I don't want to be leading the witness. What was your takeaway from what you've seen over the last 3 or 4 days?
Well, I think it's a good thing that the dialogue's underway. Everybody obviously wants the fighting to stop, and got to commend the president for taking the lead and trying to bring people together to get it stopped. But the question really is, what is Mr. Putin's ultimate aim and strategy? And so where we are right now in this is that we've given up on the concept of a ceasefire, apparently, so the fighting will go on. The bombardment of killing of civilians in Ukraine by Russia will go on. Meanwhile, we're talking about security. A personal meeting with Putin. It seems to me that the first thing that has to be explored is what is of the security guarantee that Europe and the United States will provide. Thus far, it's very, very sketchy. When the Europeans say they'll put some troops on the ground in Ukraine, but in the western part of Ukraine, that's no security guarantee. Everything about this requires detailed work. And so the bottom line assessment is you're going to get a bad agreement if you push the pace up at the rate we're pushing it without a lot of detailed examination of what are the conditions that will invoke the security guarantee. What is the security guarantee? What is the U.S. role? What is the preparation of the United States to fulfill that role? What is the binding legislation in the United States that will compel us to do it? You know, you go back to 2014, the little green men came into Crimea. Everybody knew they were Russian soldiers. The Ukrainians asked the United States for help because we had signed a pledge in 1994, the Budapest assurances that we would protect their borders. President Obama said No, let them have it. We'll try to deal with this diplomatically. Don't provoke Mr. Putin, or words to that effect, privately to the Ukrainians. That's what they did, and here's the result 11 years later. So everything here is about the details, and you've got to assume that Mr. Putin, who spent 25 years bemoaning the failure of the Soviet Union and seeking a way to recreate it, is going to certainly work the details against us. So we're a long way from done on this.
Okay, so that is the interesting part. It's very hard, if not impossible, to trust Putin, knowing what he's done in the past, knowing the agreements he's signed and then violated time and time again. How would you go about doing this agreement? You know, a NATO light sort of agreement. What should it look like, and how would you get it passed through Congress too?
Well, first of all, a NATO-like agreement is not. It's not foolproof. It doesn't commit you to go to war against Russia. It says you'll provide assistance as you deem appropriate, essentially. And that assistance might be, as just as President Obama did, said, we'll call Putin and tell him to stop. So it's not exactly the way it's being portrayed. That's the first thing. Secondly, if you were in Ukraine's position and President Trump's position, you want a just, sustainable peace. It's a matter of putting the military forces forward, not west in Ukraine, but right up on the ceasefire line. Or
General, it sounds to me, though, like what you're saying is no agreement is ever going to be safe. Basically, it depends on who the commander-in-chief is and whether Putin is going to be afraid of that person or not. If Obama looked the other direction, as you just said, so you're only as strong as the commander-in-chief.
That's right. And, you know, we've been lulled, for, I hate to sound like an historian on this, but, you know, we started the Cold War with strategic nuclear superiority, and President Trump is exactly right to be concerned now about our strategic defense in the United States, because in a multipolar world, mutual assured destruction does not provide the level of deterrence for the United States that we thought it did during the Cold War. And so the idea that the United States is going to backstop everything, you've got to put your cards on the table. If we're going to do this, put some U.S. troops there. Put them east of Kyiv so that Russia can't sweep forward across the broad, wide open steppes of Ukraine and take the rest of the country. Because as long as Mr. Putin says he's going after the root causes of this, the root causes are he doesn't control all of Ukraine, the Baltics are independent, and NATO is a strong alliance providing security in Europe. Those are the three root causes he's going after. So we've got to be careful that this agreement doesn't just slide us into the next period of conflict in Europe.
Hey, General, I think it's been just about 2 months since we dropped a couple of ordnance on, or more than a couple on Fordo and some of the other facilities, and we talked about it. And I just want to revisit that. And I have the benefit of hindsight, obviously, and you never know how these things are going to work out. But would you say that was there's just no way that at least the worst case scenario didn't come to pass? And do you have a different view of it now? Was that successful? And do you think it was, in hindsight, the right thing to do at the time?
You're talking about the Iranian operation that we ran with our stealth bombers, right?
Right. And we had a kind of a heated, I was saying, talk's one thing, and we've been negotiating for so long. Maybe it's time. Maybe it won't result in some horrible, another never-ending war, and maybe that there are times when it makes sense. And I'm just wondering whether you think maybe I was right at this point.
I don't want to. I just remember you're asking a lot of questions to me and getting very heated over it.
No, you got heated because I was challenging a general. No one's ever challenged it. By the time you get to be a general, I think everybody's afraid of you, and I am too.
But I've been challenged at every stage, and especially when I was in office. But look, the truth is that I think we did the right thing. I think Israel did the right thing. Iran was weak. We should have gone in there. But I wish we'd let Israel continue the job. You know, the Iranian regime was on the brink of collapse as the Israelis began to take out the police stations. And they panicked. They sent their foreign minister to Moscow. We don't know what that resulted in, but immediately you know, we stopped the Israelis. We called for a ceasefire. Maybe we've set the program back 2 or 3 years, but we still have a hostile government in Iran, a government that's trying to reconstitute its defenses through its militia in Iraq and in Syria even. So look, my view on it is when you commit U.S. forces, you should be decisive. Now, we tried to do this against the Houthi. Turned out we weren't decisive even under President Trump. We were effective in a military operation against the Iranians. We've set back their nuclear program, but have we ended the hostility in the Gulf? And the answer is no. And so I would have kept it going for another few days.
General Clark, want to thank you very much for being with us this morning. We look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Still to come, July housing starts data. Then Skybridge Capital's Anthony Scaramucci joins us live from the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium to discuss the crypto markets. Let's see, Wyoming in the summer could be worse. They all do that, don't they? Nobody goes to, you know, Pennsylvania. As we head to break, check out crypto prices this morning. Huh?
Poor Pennsylvania.
Poor Pennsylvania.
To have gold coins in my possession, that hard asset is insurance, you might say, against the paper dollar. It's not for my insurance, but it's for my daughter's and the grandchildren's insurance. Whereas keeping a lot of cash in your bank account can really almost end up being nothing. You have to keep cash, but you don't have to keep everything in cash, and you don't have to put everything in the stock market, and you don't have to put it all in a bond market. You do a little bit of everything. In fact, I sleep better with gold than I do with the stock market because it's tangible, it's there.
If you've bought gold in the past or would like to learn more about why physical gold should be an important part of your portfolio, pick up the phone and call to receive the complete guide to buying gold, which will provide you with important, never-seen-before facts you should know about making gold, silver, and platinum purchases.
Call now to also receive our new 2025 Global Gold Forecast Special Report. Inside, you'll find the real issues on why you need to start owning gold today. You can also receive a copy of our new report, Protection in the Risk Zone. U.S. Money Reserve can walk you through the 3 simple steps of transferring your existing 401k or IRA into a precious metals IRA backed by physical gold to further protect your assets from market instability. Pick up the phone and call U.S. Money Reserve, America's gold authority, right now to get your free gold kit and IRA information, including the 3 simple steps for transferring your existing 401k, 403b, and traditional IRA. With more than 2 decades in business, over $3 billion in transactions, and more than 1 million clients worldwide, U.S. Money Reserve is one of the most dependable gold distributors in America.
Here on the internet, you can pretend to be anything.
Like an elderly man's bank.
Or an expert plumber.
Don't trust the unfiltered internet. Angie has 30 years of experience finding the best pros.
Angie, job's done well.
This is Fatty 15, the first science-backed, award-winning C15 supplement. Working at the cellular level, it strengthens our cells, helping every part of our bodies feel stronger, better, and healthier.
Shares of Palo Alto Networks trading higher this morning. The cybersecurity software company beating on both the bottom and top line expectations for its fiscal fourth quarter. It also gave first quarter earnings per share guidance that was above what the street was expecting, and full year profit and revenue guidance that was above forecast as well. That stock right now up by about 6%. Palo Alto Networks saying that its founder is retiring. He currently serves as Palo Alto's chief technology officer. Don't miss an interview with the company's CEO that's coming up at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Squawk on the Street. Nikesh Arora will be there. It's a good guy to talk to.
And NVIDIA reportedly working on a new chip for China that's more powerful than the H20 chip it already is allowed to sell. Reuters reporting NVIDIA's new chip based on its latest Blackwell architecture. Its design likely delivers half the computing power contained in the company's more sophisticated B300 card. Now, sources telling Reuters the company wants to deliver samples to China for testing as early as next month. We talked to the Treasury Secretary about that chip. He didn't know about it, suggested we talk to the Commerce Department about that. And our good friends on Squawk on the Street are going to have that opportunity in just a little bit with the Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, coming up in the 9 o'clock hour.
Quick market flash for you as well. Shares of Robinhood, check it out. Bernstein raising its price target to $160 from $105. That stock is well above the firm's old price target. It's now trading above $115. It's nearly doubled over the last 6 months and is up over 460% over the last year.
We're just seconds away now. In fact, about 5 seconds from housing data, and Rick Santelli standing by at the CME in Chicago. Rick, the numbers, please.
Good morning, Joe. Yes, we're looking for housing starts for the month of July. Permits, this is a preliminary first of two we'll get for July. Starts expected just a whisker under 1.3 million, come in significantly stronger. 1,428,000. That is a nice jump from 1,321,000, which was last month. And that, well, that was the lowest since the previous month, which was 1.2+ million, but the numbers have been on the downside. This really is a strong number. It's the strongest number going all the way back to February, and it would mark the second strongest pace of the year for starts. If we look at the permit side, a little bit light, 1,354,000. That's about 30,000 light. And it follows 1,393,000. So it's still a bit on the light side. And if we look at this number, it comps to the same place last month's did, to June of 2020. So permits are light, which means maybe down the road we're not going to get significant building. Many are paying attention to the inventory levels of single family, which are actually on the high side, and pointing towards potentially more aggressive tendencies towards the multifamily side. We know affordability is number one issue, and even though we've seen mortgage rates briefly move down into the 660s, by historical standards, that might not be too bad. But if you look at history over the last 10 years, well, it is definitely on the high side. Interest rates, well, as that number came out, not a significant change. We're hovering at 4.32 and a 10. That's down 1 versus yesterday's close, and around 3.75 in a 2-year. That's down a couple of basis points. The big driving force this week may be the minutes, but also Jackson Hole. But in the end, many believe that the very significant percentages for a rate cut at the September meeting are overplayed. But if that's true, keep an eye out for major guidance from Jackson Hole, because the Fed doesn't like to disappoint the market. Joe, back to you.
All right, Rick, thank you. Let's get to Diana Olick, joins us now with more after all those numbers. Hey, Diana.
Hey, Joe, and Rick mentioned it. Look, it's multifamily. When you break out the single family versus multifamily in July housing starts, multifamily is the clear driver, up 11.6% month to month, up 27% year over year. Single family up 2.8% for the month and up nearly 8% year over year. So why is multifamily driving when we know in the last couple of years we have seen a really historic supply of multifamily units come onto the market? The reason is demand. It is still strong. Absorption is strong, and we're seeing rents start to turn higher again also. Why? Because people aren't buying homes, so they either stay in their rentals or new household formation is rental formation. So that's why you're seeing this growth. In the permit side, again, for single family, you're just not seeing much at all. It's down 2.8% month to month, same down year over year. And that's, again, because the builders are looking at higher costs. They're looking at higher mortgage rates. And while Rick did mention that mortgage rates are down just over 6.5%, that happened in August. These numbers are based on July, and rates were still higher in July. They came down really the last few days of July and then into August. And again, as he said, they are not historically low. So at this point, affordability is really rough. You know, Peter Bukvar was on our air this morning, and he noted that even if you lower interest rates, it's not going to help the builders get to the point where it's really going to change the housing market or make it supply-demand balance. What you need is more existing homes on the market, and that's not happening because sellers aren't getting the price. They don't want to trade up for a higher mortgage rate, and affordability is just really tough. You need home prices to come down to really jumpstart this market. Mortgage rates, even lower mortgage rates, are not going to do it. Back to you guys.
Great. Rick, Diana, thank you both for that.
Okay, coming up next, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent expecting a jump in the housing industry if there's a rate cut. We're going to get reaction to that in just a moment. Take a look at the futures right now ahead of the market open. A little bit of green on the screen in terms of the Dow up 85 points, but the NASDAQ looking to open off about 19 points. We'll call the S&P 500 relatively unchanged, almost flat right now. Squawk Box coming right back after this.
Decking and railing that stands up to whatever you ask and bends to your every whim. Trex, performance engineered for your life outdoors.
At Public, the high-yield cash account's a no-brainer. I know my money's working hard for me, and I know I can access it anytime I need it. It's very simple. Better rates mean faster growth, and that's exactly what I need.
This message is for guys who like being guys. We're Public Rec, a clothing brand for guys who don't do fussy or fashiony. With stretchy, breathable fabrics and actual sizing that fits real life, we offer a cheat code for looking good without looking like you tried. You stay comfortable with who you are. We keep you comfortable while you do you. Public Rec, never change.
Breaking earnings news. Home Depot, Toll Brothers, Target, Walmart. Market reaction. Expert analysis. Strategies for your portfolio. This week on CNBC and streaming on CNBC.
Style or substance. Somehow, it became one or the other. But there is another choice. Not stopping until you have everything in the GMC Sierra. Or get 0% APR on select Sierra 1500 models. That's over $4,300 in average finance savings.
See your North Texas GMC dealers.
I look different. I play different.
You were the greatest defense ever to play the game.
Winning becomes a lifestyle.
If we keep constraining home building, then what kind of inflation does that create 1 or 2 years out? So, you know, a cut here could facilitate a boom or a pickup in home building, which will keep prices down 1-2 years down the road.
That was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in the last hour talking about the housing market. And joining us now, Logan Mohtashami, HousingWare lead analyst. And I guess the first thing you can talk about what the Treasury Secretary alluded to, or just respond to the numbers that we just heard from the federal government.
You know, single-family permits have been going lower and lower for some time now. The big publicly traded builders can still buy down rates to get below 6% to move product, but the smaller builders are at a disadvantage here. Multifamily construction has already had a very big crash in starts, so they're working from a very, very low level. So when you see these big housing start prints, they're very volatile. Simply put, mortgage rates are too high to get things moving again. If you can get rates down to just a 6%, the builder stocks are starting to outperform a little bit. Housing does tend to act better towards 6%. It's just being able to hold it there enough to get things going. So it is a rate story. And if the economy gets a little bit softer, maybe on the labor side, you can maybe get rates down to 6%. But outside of that, we've just been basically stuck at very low single-family permits for some time now.
I mean, it's, for some reason, Logan, six seems to be the level where no one's saying 5.5 or 5 at this point, like anytime soon.
Yeah, it's really hard to get sub 6% mortgage rate with Fed policy where it's at, and especially where inflation is. But in the last few years, when mortgage rates go from 6.64 down towards 6%, new home sales tend to act better. Existing home sales tend to act better. We're still very low on the existing home sales side, but the new home sales market is still at 2019 levels, right? They've basically been in a sale range since 2018. So there's demand there, but whenever rates go back up to 7%, we see it fall. Whenever rates go back down to 6%, we see it do better. I know Home Depot talked about, people are pausing on their reconstruction or renovation projects. So residential jobs are starting to roll over now. That's not a good sign with the economic cycle that we've seen over the last 4 or 5 decades. So just getting down to 6 is the most realistic thing we can get in this kind of environment where Fed policy is. So it'll help a little bit. It won't be a housing boom or anything in that regards. But you can grow new home sales a little bit. You can grow existing home sales just to get the single family permits going again, because it's going to take time to get these homes starting to build and get them out there as real supply.
You said that with current Fed policy, Murda, are we guaranteed that if we cut, we'll get a point-for-point drop in the mortgage rate based on what we do? That doesn't necessarily mean we can get below 6% if the Fed starts cutting, does it? Could go the other way.
I think a lot of mortgage pricing getting better recently has already anticipated that. We had a 2% move from 2023 from 8% down to 6% in 2024 with no rate cuts. So really the bond market tends to get ahead of the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve always tends to play catch up in that. So I think a lot of the good pricing so far has been put in. To get lower mortgage rates with Fed policy here, you need weaker labor data. If labor data starts to pick up and core inflation starts to pick up, you can move up a little bit more, but we're kind of where we should be with mortgage rates and where the 10-year yield is. The positive story in 2025, though, that wasn't the case the last few years. Mortgage spreads have gotten better, even as the 10-year yield has risen the last few trading days. Mortgage pricing hasn't been hit so much. That is a real positive story going out, not only for the rest of this year, but for 2026. If spreads could just improve a little bit more, you don't need that much help from the 10-year yield to get low 6 mortgage or get rates down to 6%.
Logan, none of this sounds great for if you're a young home buyer or a young family. It seems like everything's going the wrong way. Is it over for them? I mean, we always say that, but
I mean, in real terms, let's think about it this way. We have near 5 million total home sales. In the peak of the last decade, it was near 6 million. So we're missing roughly 1 million mortgage buyers. If you look at the history of housing economics going back decades, there's always been periods of times where home sales crash, they stabilize, wages grow, household formation grows, rates go lower, demand picks up. We just basically rinse and wash and do it all over again. So it's not over. We had a similar situation in the 1980s when affordability was worse there. But over time, wages grow, household formation grows, dual household incomes come in. As long as price growth cools down, it looks a little bit better going down in the future. And again, we don't need 3, we don't need 4, we don't need 5. But if you want to get single family permits going again, you want to get housing construction going, you want the jobs that are being lost to reverse, you probably need mortgage rates just to get down to 6% and hold it with duration. And now that mortgage spreads have improved, that's going to be a positive going out in the future. It's just that last leg down.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about nobody can get a job, and that's now. That's even before AI really kicks in. It's rough. All right, Logan, thank you. We'll hope for 6. See you later. All right.
I think that's part of it. It's harder to get an entry-level job.
I definitely think that's part of it.
Now.
Yeah.
All right, up next, Bitcoin backing off recent highs and trading in the $155,000 area. We are at $115,000.
Yeah.
Let's make that.
Yeah. Yeah, for now.
For now.
Until next week.
We'll wait a few days.
It'll either be 55 or 155.
We will hear from Skybridge Capital's Anthony Scaramucci and find out if new highs are on the horizon. He joins us right after this next break. Squawk Box will be right back.
Only the ServiceNow platform connects every corner of your business, putting AI agents to work for people.
Like secret agents?
No, more like autonomous minions that you control.
To do what?
Well, Jim's agents resolve simple customer issues, and Patty's agents flag network problems.
Proactively?
Yep.
I'm loving my agents. Wait, do you all have agents?
Oh, yeah. And on the ServiceNow platform, everyone's agents work together, so everything works better.
Could I have agents?
Maybe.
CIDP is no walk in the park.
That's true.
But I take VivGuard Hytrulo self-injection.
Same. It's the first major innovation in CIDP treatment in over 30 years.
And while I still have CIDP,
I have a chance to
live vividly. VivGuard Hytrulo has been proven to significantly reduce the risk of symptoms getting worse.
And I can treat my CIDP with a once-weekly injection in about 30 seconds.
Do not use VivGuard Hytrulo if you're allergic to its ingredients. It may increase infection risk and cause serious allergic or infusion or injection-related reactions. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, fever, recent or planned vaccinations, allergy history, or kidney problems. The most common side effects include respiratory and urinary tract infections, headache, and injection site reactions.
I'm hitting fairways with the fellas.
I'm hitting the road with my number one. Look at you. That's how we live vividly with VivGuard Hytrulo.
Ask your neurologist about VivGuard Hytrulo for self-injection.
Did you know that your life insurance policy is an asset that you can sell? Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. I'm the CEO of Abacus Life, and for almost 20 years, we've been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. In fact, you can use the free policy value calculator at abacuspays.com, and in just seconds, you can learn what your policy might be worth. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
Meet Luke and Jason from Fire Department Coffee. Two guys with a dream and a little help from Walmart along the way.
We make coffee that supports our community.
And Walmart's played a big part. You know most of what Walmart spends goes to products made, grown, or assembled right here in the U.S.?
So we can invest back into our community.
Walmart, huh? Who knew?
Now you know, Jerry.
And that is how you brew a mighty fine American business.
My name is Josh Brown. The best stocks in the market is very simple. These are stocks with good fundamentals, a great story, and technically, they're in the process of rising higher. Everyone needs to invest. The cost of living goes up every year. The purchasing power of the dollar goes down. Assuming we're all going to be here for a very long time, we're going to need more money. The stock market is how that happens.
Join Pro for exclusive access to Josh Brown's best stocks in the market at cnbc.com/best stocks.
Welcome back to Squawk. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, saying the UK dropping its demand that Apple provide a backdoor for authorities in Britain to be able to obtain user data. Now, Gabbard made that announcement in a post on X late last night. U.S. lawmakers have criticized the UK order, saying it could be exploited by cyber criminals and authoritarian governments. Apple has said it won't build that type of access into its devices. The company had also challenged the UK's order. Meantime, crypto investors and policymakers gathering in Jackson Hole this week for the second annual Wyoming Blockchain Symposium. It's hosted by Salt and Kraken. And joining us right now, first on CNBC, Anthony Scaramucci, founder and managing partner of Skybridge Capital. Smart to do this almost as a shoulder event to Fed Chair Jay Powell.
That was the plan. That was the plan, Andrew. And interestingly enough, under the Biden administration, no Fed officials accepted the invitation last year. But under the Trump administration, we've got 3 or 4 of them, including Fed Governor Waller, coming. So we're very excited about that. We've got a gathering of about 500 people, but lots of C-suite people here. So we're hoping to make this an annual event.
You just mentioned one of the names that may be a potential Fed chair. Before we get into the crypto side of things, do you have a take on the next Fed chair? We just had Scott Besson on. He said he's going to be conducting interviews post-Labor Day with a group that may be as many as 11 right now, but it sounds like some of the guests that are at your event may be on that list.
Well, I think there might be 1 or 2, but I'm really, to me, obviously outside of that decision-making authority. And you know, listen, I mean, President Trump picked Jerome Powell 8 years ago. I think the chairman did generally a very good job. It's an imperfect process, of course. I'm not saying that mistakes weren't made, but I think he's done a generally good job, and I expect the president to pick another good Fed chair when the time comes.
Well, you're long Bitcoin. No wonder you love him, Matt.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Anthony. Interestingly, a dovish chair is good for your business. Is good for crypto, right?
Well, you know, listen, I want the mama bear chair. You know, I don't necessarily think a dovish chair is good, because if you get an overheating in inflation, you're going to disrupt all of the ways that we consume. We're going to disrupt the housing market, which you guys were just talking about. I would prefer mama bear. I think Bitcoin specifically is going to be fine in any scenario, but I like the mama bear Fed, so hopefully the president will pick the mama bear.
How are you thinking about Bitcoin right now? We're looking at the price tag right about $115,000. You know, we've had conversations probably when Bitcoin was at $15,000. Right now, in your mind, what's the window? What's the base case, and how high can it go from here?
I mean, listen, there's been pain and euphoria in the Bitcoin markets over the last 5 years. I think what's happening now is lots of consolidation and institutional adoption. So if you went to a conference like this 3 years ago, it was mostly retail investors and CEOs working in the layer 1 blockchain space. Today, it's lots more institutional investors. So that's finally starting to happen. If you look at the numbers on something like the BlackRock ETF, the IBIT ETF, you can see now, Andrew, there's lots of institutions coming in. So what's interesting is that some of the whales have been selling. So I know I've seen your interviews with Michael Novogratz and the 80,000 Bitcoins that sold last month. And so there's a consolidation story happening. There's a change of ownership story happening. But I think we're going higher just because you just look at the math. There's just way more demand than issued supply of Bitcoin or, you know, existing overall supply in the marketplace. So we still maintain our price target between 180 and 200,000 by year end. And I think that's a cautious price target, by the way. I think there are people that are way above us, those levels. But I just think it's a function of buying and only 450 Bitcoins being made by the network per day.
How do you feel about buying Bitcoin directly these days versus folks buying ETFs versus folks buying, you know, some of the products that Michael Saylor is selling, for example?
Well, listen, I mean, they're all linked to Bitcoin, IBIT being the purest link to Bitcoin. I think what Michael has done is absolutely extraordinary, as evidenced by all of the copycats that are out there. And again, not just copycats for Bitcoin, but for Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, and others. And so it's different strokes for different folks. Michael, you're probably getting a little bit more of a kick to your Bitcoin exposure. IBIT, I think it's a pure play, and I would just point out that places like JP Morgan will actually lend on IBIT, and so it's a very secure asset that people trust. I own a lot of Bitcoin and hold it in storage, Andrew, for myself and for Skybridge. And so there's different ways to approach it. I think the institutions will likely go into the ETFs. And of course, there's a lot of institutions that, quote unquote, can't own Bitcoin, that they end up owning Michael's stock or synthetics like that.
And where do you land right now in the stablecoin arena? We've had Mr. Allaire on recently from Circle. That's really the way people are playing that in the public market at this moment. But there's a whole bunch of new stablecoin companies coming into the public markets. And I keep wondering sort of how that all shakes out longer term. That feels different to me than what's happening with either Bitcoin as a currency or Ethereum or whatnot.
Well, I mean, and also the state of Wyoming is announcing this morning their own stable coin, so you can add that to the mix as well. Congratulations to the state. I just think that that's generally good. I share Secretary Besson's view of this, that's generally good for the U.S. dollar. It means, more treasuries, more short-term treasuries, demand for those securities. But I also think it's going to bring a wave of technological innovation. at our last conference in Bermuda, we did a drop of stable coins into people's phones where they could spend, I guess it was $100 at the different tourist shops.
Order filled. Order
on Front
submitted.
Street in Bermuda, and it worked beautifully. And I think you're going to get to the point where we're transacting using stable coins. It may bypass some of the credit card fees and some of the other ancillary third-party confirmation fees that we've charged historically in the marketplace. So I generally think it's very good. I think those companies will consolidate. And I think one of the discussions here at the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium is going to be about a central bank digital currency. And I stand with President Trump on that. I don't think we need that. I think it could be, from a libertarian perspective, too intrusive from a privacy matter. And I think the private companies are doing a great job in this area. And so I'd like to just stay in the private company realm as it relates to dollar-based stable coins.
The piece I can't figure out in this context on the stable coins is, if everybody's playing in this, how much margin is there really, right? And therefore, in the stable coin arena.
Well, remember, they're not allowed, because if you look at the last legislation, there's no yield on the stable coins, Andrew. So if you're converting dollars into a stable coin, there's going to be a spread there for those guys naturally. I don't think the competition is going to impact that, unless we switch up that yield mechanism.
Let me ask you a different question, and maybe it's a political question, but it's a business question. You obviously had your couple of minutes in the Trump.
I never talk politics, Andrew. That's, I'm not.
You never talk politics.
Not in politics anymore. But go ahead. I can take a political question.
He tweets it. He podcasts it. He does all of that. I'm just curious if you just weigh in on this sort of larger industrial policy question in terms of the way the country is moving. We're talking about Intel. We were talking about NVIDIA earlier and the AMD deal. And whether you look at all of this and you think of it as, a very positive, affirmative approach, the way the country should be dealing with these things, or you look at them as shakedowns for corporate leaders. Which one is it these days for you?
I'm developing such a good relationship with Joe Kernan. I almost don't want to answer the question, but I am going to answer the question, Andrew. I'm not in love with
we don't love everything.
Order canceled.
We don't love everything, but we certainly didn't vote for Kamala, or at least speaking for myself. Anyway,
okay, let him answer the question.
All right. Well, I'm going to answer the question. I appreciate surgical tariffs where we need to protect our private companies against government-sponsored companies overseas that are dumping into our markets. So I'm all about that. Okay. I don't like the massive macro tariffs. I think they're long-term damaging. I think the companies have exhausted their ability to absorb the prices of those tariffs, and they get passed on to the consumer, Andrew. So
Anthony,
ultimately,
I got to thank you.
It's going to disrupt the economy.
A longer conversation. Right. It's great to see you. Squad from the Street begins in just a moment.
Meet Luke and Jason from Fire Department Coffee. Two guys with a dream and a little help from Walmart along the way.
We make coffee that supports our community.
And Walmart's played a big part. You know, most of what Walmart spends goes to products made, grown, or assembled right here in the U.S.?
So we can invest back into our community.
Walmart, huh? Who knew?
Now you know, Jerry.
And that is how you grew a mighty fine American business.
Down, up, right, left, inside, out. Sometimes it's hard to make sense from nonsense. Go beyond the headlines. A trusted global perspective. The Economist. Know which way is up.
Seabeds. Your company started in the kitchen.
Hello?
Now it has 3. Your team of 5 grew to an army of 500. And that's your logo, right there in marble.
That's big.
To grow your business from big to bigger, you need an advisor built for the middle market.
Our data shows that this deal works.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Accounting, advisory, insurance, and more. See Viz.
Book your getaway today. Travel can be a nightmare. Luckily, you rented your car on Turo. Skip the rental counter with Turo. Rent just about any car, just about anywhere.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to Squawk on the Street. I'm Carl Quintanilla with David Faber, Mike Santoli here at Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Kramer has the morning off. Futures fairly steady as consumer retail earnings kick off this week with Home Depot. And a decent diet of news on mega cap tech. NVIDIA, Intel, Apple, Palo Alto. We'll get to it. Housing starts were good, but permits down for a fourth straight month. Our roadmap begins with Intel getting this $2 billion investment from SoftBank. The Trump administration reportedly also weighing a stake in the chip maker. Commerce Secretary Lutnick's going to be with us in just a few moments to talk about that, trade, and a lot more.
Home Depot misses earnings estimates. That's the second straight quarter it's done that. It is sticking with its outlook. We'll keep an eye on that stock. And NVIDIA reportedly working on a new AI chip for the Chinese market that outperforms the H20. This coming as OpenAI CEO Sam Altman warns about China's next generation AI threat.
Let's begin with these stories about Intel and these stakes. There's the SoftBank side, Mike, and the government side. And, of course, the Journal op-ed page talking about the nationalization of Intel, as they put it.
Right, with these reports in particular that perhaps the stake from the government in Intel is being contemplated as essentially converting the CHIPS Act grants that were earmarked for Intel into it, as opposed to a new infusion of capital. I know the details are not yet set. $2 billion from SoftBank. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing that the stock is up 6% on a $2 billion investment. It's like 2% of the company. Intel spends $25 billion annually already on CapEx. So in other words, what moves the needle here, changes the story in terms of manufacturing capacity, having a market for whatever it does build, or as has been reported, SoftBank much more interested in kind of the chip design side of Intel, obviously with the big holding in ARM. So interesting that it's in play along multiple fronts here. And the stock is, as you see on that chart, kind of kicking around these levels for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, there does seem to be some, and it's funny, I picked this up, and, you know, there's a lot of dinners that occur out on Long Island now because everybody's out there, that there seems to be at least a hope that the turnaround of Intel is a possibility. And there may even be some investors who are willing to actually climb on board for that. You can see the month to date. But to your point, Mike, it's a long way to go, and certainly $2 billion is not going to change the story at all in terms of, it is new equity, by the way, just making the point. It's not like SoftBank's buying on the market. They are buying new equity, so 2%, you know, dilutive as well, potentially, but to a small amount.
What was it, at 24 or 23?
Yes, at 23, I think, right? A little, a little lower than where the stock is, but in that range. But to your point, the bigger question, and one obviously we'll spend some time with Commerce Secretary Lutnick on, is what exactly are the plans the U.S. has for the money that has been promised Intel, not yet delivered to them under the CHIPS Act, and what is going to happen in terms of whether that becomes equity. And then, you know, you got any number of people who weigh in on the basic theme that, listen, and Stacy Rasgon, a frequent guest here, the lead semiconductor analyst over at Bernstein, talking about, you know, the goal is to help Intel build substantial U.S. capacity. $10.9 billion from the CHIPS Act's not really enough. And he still wonders how much force the administration can or needs to bring to actually deliver products that can meet spec and on time and find customers.
Right.
Because that's the part. Like, and you know, the Treasury Secretary talks about our dependence on Taiwan Semi, and it's true, and it is potentially a national security issue, hence the CHIPS Act. But the question, Carl, becomes, can you force them, being customers, to actually come to Intel to buy the chips from them?
Yeah. Stacy also says Companies recognized about $2 billion in CHIPS Act grants to date, and you could argue that given the delays, they probably were going to get the rest anyway. Let's talk more about the possibility of this government stake with the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, who joins us, I believe, this morning from Washington. Morning, Mr. Secretary. Good to see you.
Good morning. Nice to see you guys.
Can you help us understand sort of the calculus behind this move?
Sure. So for national security, we need to make our own chips here. We cannot rely on Taiwan, which is 9,500 miles away from us and only 80 miles from China. So you can't have 99% of leading edge chips made in Taiwan. We want to make them here. So that's a key part of our initiative. That's part of the deal we did with Japan. That's part of the deal we did with Korea, to have the infrastructure and economic capacity to build those chips in America. And of course, one of those pieces is it would be lovely to have Intel be capable of making a U.S. node or a U.S. transistor, driving that in America. That would be lovely. That's not necessary, but as I said, that would be a really good thing to have, would be American participant in the semiconductor space.
So, Mr. Secretary, how do you view then the CHIPS Act funds that have yet to be committed but have been promised, and the idea that that might be then converted to an equity stake? Is that how we should view it, that ultimately that's what you're talking to Intel about right now?
Yes. I mean, the president figures out that America should get the benefit of the bargain. I mean, that is exactly Donald Trump's perspective, which is, why are we giving a company worth $100 billion this kind of money? Donald Trump views we should get benefits for the economics that we put out.
Yeah, I love your response then to, I mentioned this analyst, Stacy Raskin, because he's written on it. He's one of the top analysts who follows this company for years. He says that we note the company's recognized $2.2 billion in CHIPS Act grants to date, and suppose one could argue that given the delays, they probably aren't going to get all the rest anyway, that being another $8+ billion. Nevertheless, trading 10% of the company for what it now seems worse than the prior agreement, in which basically they were getting the money for free. Do you not put Intel in a better position?
Of course,
Let me just finish. Do you not put them in a better position to compete? Is that, should that be a concern, since you want them to be the competitor you described earlier in terms of a U.S. champion?
Look, the CHIPS Act was just a giveaway to rich companies. I mean, why in the world is the United States of America taking money and giving it to companies like TSMC, which is worth $1 trillion? I mean, why would we give them money to come to America? Donald Trump understands how to do this. What he does is he says, if you don't build in America, you're going to pay a 100% tariff, and then watch them come flying in. So the idea is, let's change with respect to Intel. We want Intel to be successful in America. Okay? We'd like an American transistor built in America, right? We'd like an American to be doing that. So Donald Trump says, hey, look, let's turn the money that Biden was going to just give away and turn that to equity for the American people. Yes, it is a worse deal than giving it away. But when you put this money in the hands of Donald Trump, you're going to get a better deal for the American taxpayer. That's who Donald Trump is, and it's obviously the right move to make.
Well, all right, it may be obvious to you. Do you get governance here? By the way, once you're in for 10%, do you have to go in for even more?
No. Come on.
No, what?
Come on, stop that stuff. It's not governance, right? We're just converting what was a grant under Biden into equity for the Trump administration.
I get that.
The American people.
I just asked if you're going to get governance. You're going to own 10% of the company. You don't. Why wouldn't you want
non-voting, non-voting.
Okay.
No, stop. Don't overdo it.
Well, I'm not overdoing it, but you got a golden share on U.S. Steel, so it's not like impossible to imagine that you do want some level of governance here if you're going to put 10% of taxpayers' money into, or 10% of the company's taxpayers' money.
Let's discuss the golden share on U.S. Steel.
Good morning.
The Japanese Nippon.
What's up, guys? Everything looks like it's gonna drop. I'm scared of short because I don't know what to do. We're getting new lower days soon. Just gotta wait for open. But yeah, everything looks like it's going down.
Is Donald Trump's way of thinking, which is make people do what they say, make them live up to what they say, and make sure you get the benefit of the bargain for the American taxpayer.
I'm sure you've read the journal Pushback already. The op-ed page. Once the government acquires a stake in Intel, politicians will have an incentive to keep pouring on subsidies so they wouldn't have to
Morning,
admit
Gal.
mistake. This is corporate statism, and it rarely does end well.
We were giving away the money. I mean, imagine this. Look, the Biden administration literally was giving Intel for free and giving TSMC money for free. And all these companies just giving them money for free. And Donald Trump turns that into saying, hey, we want equity for the money. If we're going to give you the money,
Gambit?
we want a piece of the action for the American taxpayer. How could that
I haven't traded anything. It's just too choppy. Everything looks bad right now. Like it's gonna dump, but we're towards lower day.
$100 billion, trillion-dollar companies makes no sense. Donald Trump is fixing.
I don't think we should go long. Like 3 minutes looks down, 15 minutes looks down. Bot might go short in a little bit.
Capital markets for years as you have been. I do wonder, how do you view this idea of state capitalism that's being introduced?
Maybe
I mean,
I'll
you
bounce
mentioned
that
the golden
open.
share in U.S. Steel, the 10% potential stake in Intel, the 15% of the revenues that NVIDIA gets from selling chips in China, the $400 million.
I don't think it did anything all night to stay in this stupid range.
I'm curious how you think about it, Howard, given, of course, your long career at the center of the capital markets for all those years. I think of you as a capitalist, but this doesn't quite sound like that.
All right, well, let's
I don't
talk
think we're
about
having a big data today, too.
Japan has offered to buy down
Yeah.
25% to 15%. They offered us $550 billion investment fund. And then Korea came
No,
out and offered
you get on it now and you ask them. The market's not open. Yeah, just leave a chat open on one of your screen. You see what they say.
And it's really very, very thoughtful, and it's an attack. They sell product here.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of people screwed up bad doing stupid stuff.
Capitalists out of business, put us out of business in rare earth magnets. We invented rare earth magnets. Why don't we make them anymore? Because they sell them for half the value, and we don't have them, and then they hold it over you, right? Like a giant axe. And we've got to fix ourselves. We've got to make semiconductors. We've got to build pipelines. We've got to build nuclear. We've got to have the infrastructure to help our national security.
Since you didn't touch anything, like you didn't trade the other one, they should be able to help you.
Bring it to America. When he leaves office, he is going to leave America safe, secure, and economically powerful.
Wait, hold on, no. So, okay, so the one you passed, you actually reset, and then you got the reset, and you blew that one? Yeah, you fucked it. I thought you said you didn't touch it. I thought you said you didn't touch any of it because you knew you fucked up. So you went to reset the other one, you blew the other one, but not the one that. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, you touched it. It's gone. If you didn't touch it, yeah, but if you touched it, it's gone, dude. But just try.
Specific stakes and particularly companies that have particular national security concern.
You told me last night you knew you messed up. You didn't touch it.
Oh, it's a completely new way of approaching it. But it's not.
Yeah, just try, dude. I don't think I would be able to help you. Just going to 150K TPT giveaway on YouTube later. Man, that sucks. Yeah, it happened. Yeah, I told you last night. It happened to one of my buddy too. He did the same thing, but he actually traded after that. So that's why they won't give it back to him. He want to email. Yeah, he reset the wrong one, just like you. He passed it and he reset it because. Yeah, and then he traded that one, and then they said no. And then he asked me to help, so I shoot the email out, and they say they can't do anything. But that's like that's like 4 months ago. You can try again. Just talk to them. You'll see.
He understands business. We made the deal with
Yeah, that sucks, dude. That's like money's gone and the 5 days of hard work.
Money that's going to create these investments so that we can build the pipelines, we can build the nuclear, we We can build semiconductors. We can build
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals in
But
America.
the 150K is hard to
America.
pass.
This is Donald Trump's strategy, and it is amazing, and it's the
Yeah.
most fun to work
Man,
with.
that sucks so
because
bad,
it is
dude.
doing things that nobody's ever thought of doing to protect America.
You mentioned you're working on the documents. When do you think the market can get its hands on
Well, that's good though. At least the pros in the different sections, you can't accidentally reset it though. But yeah, you guys gotta slow down with like buying and resetting.
Well, these are kind of weeks away.
I think Google did the same thing too, just like you. But it was on Apex, and Apex won't fix that.
To open its market. These countries have agreed to open their market. They bring down their tariffs. It's not that you're not going to find a law,
They might.
450-page
Yeah.
trading agreement. It's very simple. Bring down your tariffs to zero. Open the market to American exporters so that we can finally sell our agriculture overseas. Finally sell our
Let's hope they
seafood
say
overseas.
something.
Finally sell our beef overseas. I mean,
I should have long.
our producers have Stockholm syndrome. We've been so beaten for decades that we don't even know what it's like to sell internationally.
Let me see. Yeah, double top, double bottom. No.
The European market
This
won't buy our
is.
cars. Korea won't buy our cars. Japan will buy our cars, but they sure as heck sell us cars. That is changing under Donald Trump. And that
It
what's
is.
so
That's
much
why
fun
I
about
prefer the
this trade is
25K, but
opening their markets
you guys are
for
better
our
with the
ability to
150.
export, and he's got it asymmetrically. They are going to pay us to sell to us, the great American consumer.
Dang, you got a lot of reset.
We're going to talk about the $550 billion in the future
Maybe-
as well. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing
Oh,
some of the language
point.
around
Gotcha.
it. Let me come back to the U.S. and sort of the whole
See,
idea.
the
again
bear
of
is showing up
enhancing our
now,
competition and US
so
champions.
maybe a little
I'm
more
curious,
drop.
Mr. Secretary, how you
Maybe
view the
720, we
recent,
might
move
short.
by, Union
But
Pacific
then the
to acquire
3-minute
Norfolk Southern,
oscillators
the
like
idea of
towards the
creating
bottom
a
already.
nationwide. They put it under the guise of, hey, this is going to be a national champion. This is beneficial for the industrial policy of the U.S. How do you view that rail consolidation and whether we should see it and whether we should see even more of it?
Well, we all know that the issue is there was Western railroads and there was Eastern railroads, and they had this interchange in the middle of the country that tended to take 2 or 3 days to change the rail from one company to another company's rail system, and that should be made more efficient. Whether
I haven't
that's
seen Van yet.
merger or in any other way, I'll leave that to the
And he's supposed to have a
regulators and the
$9,000
OCs.
payout last night.
Position, but the concept of making it more efficient to get across the country is obviously something that we all applaud. How to get there, I don't know. That's not our issue. But the fact is, we need to have a more efficient rail system for cross-continental rail.
Yeah.
Well, when I was in the karate class with the nephew, I heard him saying he's going along, but then I got home, I checked NQ, it dropped like 40 points. And you know, 40 points for him, he probably maxed out his position.
Supportive of this consolidation. Is that not the case?
Well, I think from my perspective, I'm going to let the experts.
I mean, 50 points, I don't do as well, but 40 points for that Mabel.
That's not my place to win. Okay. All understand that we need to have an efficient transcontinental rail system. That it's obviously something that we all applaud.
All right, let me come back to something quickly that you,
Yeah.
I think, at least the Treasury Secretary indicated you should get or should have something to say
It
about
looks
it.
like
and
more
that's this
people are renting now. It's in a travel down, not just Vegas, Miami and New York, it's all
but
down.
not the H20, a different type of chip to the Chinese. He said on Squawk Box earlier that as Treasury Secretary that
I think it's still back. I don't think it's like dead, but you're staying on a weekday, so it might be a little bit slower, especially early morning. That's what you want. Yeah, that's what you want to gamble early morning. Have cheap tables so you like fighting on the table for blackjack. Yeah. Weekends and for the nighttime, you can't really find like a $10 table. Everything's like 20, 25, or 15.
Of course, he would like to sell a new chip to China, and I'm sure he's pitching the president all the time. I've listened to him pitch the president, and the president listens to our great technology companies, and he'll decide how he wants to play. But the fact that Jensen is pitching a new chip,
If we hit 734, I might long. You might.
It can't be worth $4 trillion and not be amazing. Mr. Secretary, we didn't get to.
I think so.
tariff revenue and
Yeah,
more,
it's
but we'll see
early.
you
They
next
close
time.
at noon for
Thanks for
us.
coming on. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Great, Secretary Ludlow. Still to come this morning, we'll get to some movers, including Depot, kicking off a busy earnings season for consumer
You guys come
retail.
up for
We'll get
the
to
funding
Palo
tickets
Alto,
giveaway
Warren,
today? We have 3 given
Medtronic,
out for
Starbucks,
Discord
and
for the
more when we
race.
return.
PGIM, our ETFs use today's best
Yeah,
ideas to help bring tomorrow's goals within reach. Our broad suite of over 50
So they
low-cost
agreed to
ETFs
giving us
is backed
3,
by
so that's nice of
150
them.
years of active management expertise. PGIM ETFs today.
7:30. Ooh. Double bottom is 7:34 on my thing, so we'll see.
The digital gold that is data has never been more important.
I know we're prepared. We've done the hard work. We're going to keep getting better to serve our clients.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. To help you see untapped possibilities and relentless.
I didn't want to wake up. I did not want to wake up today. Damn, I woke up at I think 3:30 and couldn't go back to sleep, and then I finally went back to sleep and my alarm came on. I was like, dang it, I don't want to work.
It's lazy. The work lost cushions that don't quit. The
You-
errands forgotten with every recline. The chores.
Yeah, I was like, man. Hope today's not chop. Huh?
Fully made for you.
He doesn't live with me, but he's old. He's 20 now.
Food is sensual. Food is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I take care of my nephews. They're like 3rd grade and 1st grade.
Consumers want food that makes them feel better about what they're eating. They want positive eating.
Yeah.
They want plan forward. They want Mediterranean. Ambition is about making a difference in the lives of other people. What do we need to do today to create the future?
I don't know. Well, yeah, Texas and Chicago, and then back to Texas.
It's the most powerful way to make a difference.
Yeah, 4 years. Wife was in the pharmacy school in Midwestern. Yeah. Midwestern.
The key to a truly unforgettable
Suburb. It's near like down the road. It's like Catholic school, a private school.
There's one place
Down this road.
where you're sure to find it.
Yeah, I think there's 2 pharmacy schools in Chicago. One in the suburb and one straight in the city.
Want to glow up? For your phone? With Verizon, everyone gets a free phone on any plan.
Yeah, that's the
I
one.
have Google Gemini. Here's another beauty tip. Shh, let's keep this between us.
Man,
Get in on this.
really? I remember all the Walgreens little clinic is owned by them, and then they sold it off. I don't know if it's Advocate or someone else, but I remember it starts with an A.
With a beat on the bottom line, margins, revenue up 15, B of A upgrades,
Gotcha.
assets that might help some software names outperform versus the Mag 7, which we've seen a bit in recent days. We will talk to Nikesh Arora about the quarter and software in general coming up in the next hour on this hour on Squawk on the Street. Stay with
Still
us.
big, right? Oh,
September 16th, the NBC teams up with two-time NBA champion Kevin Durant.
2012 to 2015? Or 2016? One of those 4 years there. It's fun.
Travel could be a nightmare.
I actually love Chicago way more than Texas. Like the food and everything, it feels better there. Yeah, because we like in Chicago, you actually have 3 seasons. You can actually see the falls and everything. Like it's beautiful compared to here, Texas.
Read just about any time,
It's crap.
just about anywhere.
Want to glow up?
No,
For your phone? With Verizon,
the house
everyone gets
area.
a free phone on any plan. And now I have
Yeah.
Google Gemini. Here's another beauty tip. Shh, let's keep this between us.
It's boring.
Get in on this.
Vegas is better.
To the show.
Yep.
The one
I would not trade as much if I lived in Vegas. Yeah. I'd be done streaming at 11 and off to the casino and play poker.
How will you shape the future of consumer products
I'll
and
be like
retail
Rips.
with confidence?
Consumer products clients are relentlessly focused on driving profitable growth.
Whether it's untangling global supply chains,
Yeah.
managing cost pressure, or leveraging emerging tech to create consumer value, EY teams bring real-time insights.
No, it's pretty boring. The only person I actually watch is Ryan Stunks, because he's actually pretty good, and then PW, because it's funny. But Rips, kind of boring.
It guides our every waking moment.
I like PW a lot better,
We do
because he's more outgoing.
and how we do it. The amount of light
Yeah, he's loud.
can change in an instant.
What's
And
up,
when
man?
it does, you can control it.
Okay, so we missed the long. Maybe we should short later. How's the casino last night?
.com to get started. Nuveen invests with the foresight and vision.
What's your son trading now? Is you still trading that one MFU or that one's blown?
Portfolios that deliver lasting legacies. To innovate.
Okay, that's blown. Okay.
Just around the corner. Because after 125 years of yesterdays, Nuveen knows your ultimate stakeholder is tomorrow. Nuveen, invest like the future is watching.
The opening bell is brought to you by Nuveen. Invest like the future is watching.
Depot kicking off a big week of retail earnings numbers. The company did maintain its full-year outlook, but quarterly results.
Thursday data, but I don't think it's gonna move much.
That's the first time since 2014. CFO Richard McPhail tells CNBC that comps improved in each month during the second quarter, and even with those visits, Mike, the comps at 1.4 are the best in about 3 years.
Yes, so they're kind of grinding in the right direction. They talked about July actually having been a little bit stronger. I mean, big picture, Home Depot's been sideways for 4 years. Sideways sales, sideways earnings, basically sideways in the stock. It's not that far off its late 2021 high, but it shows you that Home Depot effectively saying,
What's the next big data he can do?
we actually think we don't need to diminish guidance even though we missed
Yeah,
this quarter. So that, I think,
Friday
is a little
maybe.
bit of the
You just
the
yellow
confidence
that
that you get
Friday
out of
or
there. It's maintaining its
Thursday.
valuation even though really doesn't buy back stock.
Oh, Friday has a Jackson Hole for Jay Powell, so that might move.
Once rates cooperate, maybe once we kind of unleash some of the pent-up, demand for housing and renovation. That's the way that they're playing.
Yeah, I don't know the time yet.
Traffic down just a touch, 410s, they made up for it on ticket. They did point out that some larger projects are being put on hold, not necessarily canceled, but given the uncertainty.
What's up, Chris?
Yeah, for sure. And look, where you're going to see the impact on demand is in the bigger ticket, durable goods stuff. That's where you already have seen it, whether it's pricing or people just being hesitant about the price setup.
Well, that fish hasn't been on.
The foregone
Check on
purchases
fish.
now, or the foregone projects now, and assume they're going to get their piece of it.
Yeah, we missed the bump, but I don't know.
Little rebound here. They're well below their
My thing still looked like a short in 15 minutes.
the Treasury Secretary earlier talking about, and this is somewhat true. You bring Fed funds rates down, and it does allow a little more room for home builders to finance themselves and get some.
My trade station on the 15-minute is short, but it looks like we might have a pump at open. I'll just wait for the pump to be done.
We've been watching mortgage spreads, and they have compressed a little bit from the 10-year, but the curve overall is steepening. And in fact, Apollo's got a good piece out today about why that's happening. Fed cutting, but the market may be suspicious of their motives. Nice sort of affirmation of U.S. debt rating from S&P last
For sure. So it really isn't a fiscal tantrum going on at the long end by any means. But, inflation expectations are at least holding up. They're not flying, but they're holding up. So, I mean, really, how much lower would you expect the 10-year Treasury yield to be than 4.25 if that's kind of where nominal GDP growth is, right? And you would want the curve to be somewhat steep. If the curve is flat or inverted, the market's telling you we're late cycle, and and the Fed might be having to cut more.
I want to jump in a short right now.
I think you should view a positively sloped yield curve as a negative,
I don't
but
know.
it does
What we got, 1 minute?
strain the ability
Yeah,
to
I'm
kind
gonna
of,
do
finance out the long end.
I'm doing an eval. I got the fun and pick eval. I forgot about that. Let me do that.
Bill,
We've rewritten a bunch of
order submitted.
We'll see. We're going to start getting Jackson Hole. Look at Bowman today, who is a dovish dissenter.
I'm doing eval, but don't follow me. Bot's still long.
Order
Yep.
canceled.
And a hit. My target hit. That's a good shot. Flip towel. Yeah, it's every morning we do this. Let's see, bought wrong 4 hours ago at 782. Yeah, I think we're gonna drop.
Order submitted. Order filled. Order submitted. Order canceled.
There we go.
And whether or not they are poised to see some leadership. B of A has been on this theme for a while. We've talked about Savita's thesis, but Meta and the action yesterday on Meta is sort of feeding that view.
Yes, I think you can grab at that as support for the view that, that group of stocks is already priced for some pretty aggressive scenarios.
You short too, Gambit?
Faint flutter of doubt about, sustainability of the AI spending or the payback you're going to get on it is going to compress
That was a good short.
You actually have seen in another attempt to rotate away from the concentrated leadership yesterday.
Told you that short's gonna pay. What's up, buddy?
The equal weight outperformed the market cap weight. Now,
Sound half
all that
awake.
being said, it's coming from extremes. We've seen many of these head fakes in the last few years. Where it seemed as if the so-called broadening was underway. And I think that where it nets out is you probably do need a combination
Look
of
at that drop.
Fed
Woo!
cutting rates, reassurance that you're going to get some kind of reacceleration in the real economy as opposed to just this AI capex driven GDP story.
Wow, new low day. Told
I
you.
still think until the rest of the market has their earnings estimates rising to the same pace that mega caps are,
Let me see the.
on a wholesale level to make that trade. Obviously, you can pick your spots. Consumer cyclicals have actually held up fine.
Yeah.
Financials have mostly done their
No, that long was like 4 hours ago. It was gonna go short in a little bit.
It's just the preponderance of upside in the market.
We might lose 700.
Guys, on
Because the 15-minute looks bad. It looks like it has more downside. Ah,
we haven't yet gotten to
took
what I
profit too
believe,
early.
At least based on a lot of the conversations I've had lately, will be a really active M&A market, but we are
Order
seeing
filled.
every day,
Order
every day
submitted.
or at least reporting on
There's
potential deals.
700
This morning
gone.
we get one in the media area, particularly local broadcast networks, and
Nice.
it's been out there for a couple of weeks now, and that is the purchase of Tegna by Nexstar. Overall, they're saying 6.2 billion, but that includes debt, and there's plenty of it at all these firms. In fact, the company itself is going to be levered at about 4 times. They do want to get down to about
Order
3.2
submitted.
times leverage, which is fairly high. And so Tegna does have a decent amount of debt, although not quite as much or not highly as levered, I don't think, as
You know, when the bot short, it's gonna be pretty low already. Not good.
Is a positive one for both shares. Now, Tegna had already moved up on previous reports of the possibility of this transaction, but Nexstar itself responding quite well to the deal. As you might imagine, significant synergies. Also is going to create, a giant. They're talking about 265 stations in the country, and so not an insignificant amount of
Order filled.
Order filled. They're going to need
Order
some help
submitted.
along
Order
the way
canceled.
from the federal government. You've already had the overruling of a rule that was in place for many years that said you cannot own the top 2 stations out of 4 in any given market. But for this deal to go forward,
Order
they also
submitted.
have to get rid of the 39%
Next
ownership
level
cap. Now, that is
is.
something the FCC
Oh
chair
wow.
said is underway.
656 is
Take a listen
next.
to
Holy
Harry
cow.
Snook, who spoke earlier this morning on Squawk Box. He's the CEO of Nexstar, about their expectations for the rest of the regulatory relief they need.
Circuit Court basically vacated
Order
the
filled.
Order filled.
Order
Two-station
submitted.
rule, or the two top big four station rule that prohibited an operator from owning two of the top four rated stations in a marketplace. So we feel as we move through this regulatory process that we're meeting deregulation kind of where it is at this point. We think it's evolving, and we think our case is compelling, not only for removal of the national ownership cap, which keeps broadcasting to 39%
Order
of the U.S.
submitted.
population. When we compete with big tech,
Order
these
filled.
base have been able to reach every screen and
Oh
every
man, that's
Order
not
canceled.
good.
and office in America.
They believe there's a lot of trust, at least in
Order
local
filled.
guys, more so perhaps in the general media and or big tech. And he's a believer in the potential benefits that will accrue as a result of it.
Order
He
submitted.
did get that deal, worth about $3.5 billion in terms of the equity value itself. But interesting to note, Nexstar shares up.
Yes, it's. I mean, you talk about this pipeline or this kind of built up slate of potential deals. This is one category where it's kind of like a mopping up, a consolidation of an industry under pressure. And I'm wondering if that's going to be kind of one lane that we go through for a while right here. Obviously, not just media, but just these areas of the market where it just made sense from kind of an industrial
I don't.
Point of view to have things folded together.
we constitute ourselves on the floor.
Exactly. And there's been a bit of a hesitancy to pursue that.
Oh,
because
now
you
I
assume,
bought one short. Oh, I don't like that.
classic example of this.
665 is when I bought one short.
Depot that it was blocked, and it was like, well, physical office supply stores were not a threat to anybody.
I hear him a
else.
lot. I think he's some big time financial guy, right?
Is actually being received pretty well here. 95 beats 89 cents. Operating margins were a beat. As we said, we'll talk to Nikesh Arora in the 10 a.m. hour today. This notion, though, that maybe software is trying to make a stand, even if it is on the back of cyber in this case.
I think there's just tremendous variation within software. I mean, it always has been, but in this case in particular, when you're talking about
Order
things that are
submitted.
more on the security side, those have held up pretty well. So, at CrowdStrike as well. I mean, they've kind of justified where they are in the entire mix. Again, as opposed to something that seems more, just sort of one application that can be.
I don't like it.
Through AI. So I do think there's going to be.
I don't know if this short's gonna be good or not, but
seeing it, and so you
I'm
have
gonna
Palo
wait.
Altos and CrowdStrike that hold these really fat valuations because they're considered to have that competitive moat.
Yeah. Mike, yesterday you and I, we talked a bit about speculative parts of this market, whether it be kind of the memification of certain names and obviously some multiples that we haven't seen in quite some time in terms of revenues on the like of a Palantir, and also the comeback of
Order
SPACs.
submitted.
I'm sure you noted Chamath Palihapitiya, the so-called king of SPACs back in that year. Remember 2021, he was launching them all over the place, is back with a new S1 for raising $250 million in a new blank check vehicle company. I would note from the S1 the following language, kind of interesting. We believe retail investors should only participate
Order canceled.
if this investment is a small part of an otherwise diversified
Order
portfolio.
submitted.
This investment is a quantum of capital they can afford to completely lose, and if they do lose their entire capital, they will embody the adage from President Trump that there can be no crime in a casino. When you go back and take a look at some of the
Well,
well-known
Trader Fox
SPACs
got a
that he was
good
part
deal
of
now.
from the area, from the
Let me post it up.
time period I mentioned,
Finally.
Virgin Galactic,
Get cheap evals.
hasn't gone well at all. Clover Health,
Yeah.
hasn't gone well at all. But SoFi, big winner.
Yeah.
I think we have charts for all three. Or maybe we do, maybe we don't. But we're going to show you a bunch of charts now. We have.
And that's been the experience with SPACs in general, right? The majority did not play out. We know about, there you have it.
They did. And
Damn,
by
I'm
the way,
maxed
we
out
brought
on
back our
Trader Fly
index.
too, and I can't even
That's
get
a
it. But
reflection of the
$30 is nice.
rise in interest once again, and the number of SPACs we've seen launched.
Oh
And
wow,
New
that
York
pump.
CBC
See, the
Post
bot's
Index,
getting crushed this
year
week.
to date, doing pretty well, and that is deals that were announced and closed. So this is how the companies
Yeah,
have
I
performed.
knew the bot
since
short's gonna be
closing of the
bad.
deal. A lot of those being that vintage, that 21-22 period. But you can see they've been doing well this year. And then the SPAC 50 is those that have announced a deal but have not yet closed that transaction. So then you get some feel like for what's going on right now.
You
But
got
he's
caught in the
back.
long?
Yeah.
And you know, he made plenty of money as a sponsor. As you saw, very much a mixed bag for shareholders if he bought all of them. Certainly, he benefited
Yeah,
on so
I
far,
don't
but he lost pretty
know
much
if Van's gonna
everything on
make it
Virgin
up.
Galactic.
I mean, there is this persistent cohort in the market right now that just wants very
Would it
high
blow?
torque, you know, kind of
Would it
get
blow if
rich,
you didn't,
get
if you
rich
held on to
instantly
it?
type of situations. And some of it plays out in a lot of these kind of options trades that act like parlays, you know, betting parlays. Some of it
Damn.
is just, you know, get me a piece of the hottest IPO, and some of it's going to be a SPAC where it's truly open-ended, and it's a matter of faith. So I guess I'd be more concerned
Well, you see,
if
discount
it
activation
felt
fee.
very pervasive
It just
and everybody was operating in that
I don't
mode.
see it just
It
as
doesn't
in.
really feel that way, although there were reports that Kathy Wood's flagship ARK Invest Fund had like its biggest net inflow
Huh?
since the 2021 period.
Order
when it was
Yeah.
riding high despite awful returns.
It was up
since that
9K
period.
last night, so I
You
don't
got
know
the
if he did
crypto
it, if he
guys,
actually
the
cashed out
the
or not.
M&Rs of the world and the like. That's
Order
I think she's
canceled.
also an investor potentially.
Absolutely, yes, right. So the crypto treasury stock companies that seem like this kind of
Order filled.
I'm trying
Order
to short
submitted.
now.
leveraging crypto, really not leveraging it, honestly, just raising equity
That's a
to buy
mega
crypto.
pump.
We didn't mention some of the reports today about these disaster
Order
puts
canceled.
on the triple Qs, and the sort of put skew right now is some traders are looking at the recent behavior of at least mega cap tech names, and worrying that if one were to go down, it could do some significant damage. There's no doubt about it. It's very hard to read what that is actually telling us, though, because it could just be what a lot of folks are going into August, which is NASDAQ 100 is up a ton. It's up 40%. It's back to its high valuations, and it's cheap to hedge because volatility levels were low. And so if it's cheap to hedge, then why not hedge at a lower strike to actually only really protect you if it cuts into the muscle and goes back to unwind this entire rally?
I bet you
I
a
think
ton
that's
blue
what
on that
we're
one.
mostly seeing here. And so people are saying that the odds of some kind of a correction rise as you go longer without one, and you're into this tough seasonal period. And, you know, maybe there is just kind of a way to trade around that relative
Order
trade as
filled.
well,
Order
NASDAQ 100
submitted.
versus the rest of the market.
What's up, homie?
So while it's interesting, I don't know that it's predictive in itself. And if anything, you're going to find people say, well, if the big money's
Wait,
getting hedged
you're not
out,
trading?
that's probably going to cushion your downside.
Order canceled.
We are big fans of this story on page one of the Journal today, looking at office foot traffic, New York City, JP Morgan's new headquarters.
Order filled. Order
The
submitted.
only major U.S. metropolitan
Later, buddy.
to exceed the 2019 foot traffic levels. All other cities are negative from that period. We finally did it in July.
Order
And it
canceled.
has implications for commercial real estate and just
Okay, this
activity
pump
in the
is
city that
stupid
was
because I'm
once
stuck in a short. Come on. 7:15. There we go.
Yeah, not the case, and obviously also an important component of the overall tax base for the city as well. You know, yeah, particularly when you have a $115 billion budget. It's the financial services companies that have demanded workers be back 5 days a week. JP Morgan, Blackstone, any number of others. That's important here. And you're right. It's the, as we've said so many times, Carl. It's the highest end. It's the A plus rated space. You know, if you're B, you're still sort of looking to convert if you can. Maybe you're building
Order canceled.
to make it easier to do that.
There we go.
Residential.
Give me $40 more and I get my payout, and I'm gonna shut this off and blow
Order
this My
submitted.
Planet Futures.
That high-end space, whether it's at Hudson Yards, Vanderbilt. Obviously, this building is going to be incredible.
I'm just shorting every pump.
You know, I want to get the first tour.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
It's going to just be amazing.
Order
I'm sure
filled.
you guys will watch it go up. $3 billion.
Order submitted.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Don bought that thing.
If you guys blow your account today, just get on YouTube. We got a lot of giveaways.
Order canceled.
A lot of people are blowing up right now. A lot of people are blowing up.
Order
That flush
submitted.
got a lot of people.
7 years, start to finish, they've persisted with the, you know, more or less original scale of the plan. And it was very ambitious, you know, the
Wait, you passed and you touched it?
It was the largest building ever demolished by choice.
Taking down two that was quite something. Yeah. No, it's amazing. Pointing out, by the way, a story, I think it was in the Journal or maybe Bloomberg, actually, Amazon also actually leasing
I
more
have
space
no words on that.
as it continues to sort of
I'm sorry.
keep more
Damn.
employees in the city.
I mean,
as well.
who did that same thing yesterday too?
for a favorable
Milk. Milk is the same
but it's
thing.
involving men.
Yeah.
Of course, the most active of activists, the most important activist that we have, which
Good.
is Elliot. And they were here. They are there, and there's already been change.
It's gonna drop. I want to pump more so I can short again. 715 to 720 is a good short.
As well this morning. They are both with significant experience. Are these gentlemen?
Sorry, Jack.
One having run strike.
Are you out of accounts? Or you still have
And
any?
there is an expectation on the part of Elliott, and I think many investors that a company
Okay,
that
don't
is
touch
frustrated
the
by quite some period of time
what is it, the
is at an
Lucid until the
inflection point
tournament.
of growth, and will hopefully deliver on that. And this is a fairly recent position for Elliott.
Order canceled.
At least what I've been able to pick up from my reporting.
Order
Let's talk
filled.
about it over the last
Order
quarter or
submitted.
so. They say, become one of the largest investors at the
Okay.
company. And it was a relatively,
Wow,
it seems
that's-
very
yeah.
friendly
I covered too soon too.
interchange here. And they've agreed to, again, to independent
Order
directors.
filled.
These are not Elliott endorsed
Order
necessarily,
canceled.
although certainly you'd imagine that they
I need
are.
$40 more dollars
Not appointed
to
by
get this.
Elliott. These are independent directors who are going to be part of what I think there's a hope that
Order
will
filled.
hold
Order
management
submitted.
Yeah, it's
accountable
moving pretty
as it
crazy right now.
starts to introduce new products that are expected
I like
to help
it.
revenue growth, but then also
Order
the margin
canceled.
improvement that is hoped will come along
Yeah.
with it. And
Oh yeah, I hit that last
frustration
night. I
that
got
has been a
280.
part of
Order
investor
submitted.
frustration. Take a look at 10 years. Look
Yeah,
at stock
Tradify's good. Messy Life. Tradify's really good.
while
They
sometimes there have
pay.
been periods of revenue growth, the EPS
Let me
growth might
update
has not
the
been there,
graphics for it.
as well. The margin improvement that was expected perhaps has not been there quite as much, whether it's costs and not managing them appropriately, or supply chain going into and out of COVID and everything that required from the company. It hasn't done as well navigating it that as perhaps had been the hope, and now is the expectation of Elliott, which
There you
again
go.
is a significant shareholder. By the way, they're not in the fiscal year, so the proxy window is going to open fairly soon.
Order
And
filled.
so
Hope you're doing better,
Order
Gambit.
he's not afraid of going to a vote because they finally did
Order
here in the US
submitted.
this year. Remember the Phillips 66 where they did get 2 directors.
Shit, that
But
drop
there have been any
got
number
me.
of other very significant
Order
investments
canceled.
for them that continue campaigns.
Order
that run
submitted.
Southwest, certainly.
I didn't expect this kind of
Texas
movement
Instruments,
today.
Honeywell, all very large positions. At one point or another, continue to be the case for Honeywell, where Mark Steinberg is actually on the
Yeah.
board. He's, of course, one of
We didn't get to move
Elliott's
yesterday,
senior
but
people,
today.
in the
And your
activism,
sizing's too
part of the
heavy.
business
It's
as
easy
well.
to get
So,
blown.
you know, we'll see, Mike, if they're able to actually navigate it this time. That is the management, and they do have
No,
this
no news.
community
It's
as
just
well that we
weird.
mentioned also in terms of operating and growth. Yes, that they hope will again accountability for
Order
delivering
submitted.
on the execution, as they are believed to be at this inflection point as they introduce a number of cardio segment, particularly
God.
drivers and new products.
Order filled.
Order filled. Some of this, we should mention Bugatti Therapeutics, which is down significantly on some disappointing obesity drug data.
Order filled.
4% pre-market. It's actually giving a slight lift to Novo and Lilly.
Order
And
submitted.
it kind of brings us to healthcare overall, Mike. The XLV, worst sector of the year, but the best sector of the week.
Order
last week.
filled. Order submitted. Order canceled.
The leaders were from
Order
laggard
filled.
healthcare names, and you know some of the health insurers and things like that. So that is really, I think, the center of this
Bot
attempt.
screen.
A little bit of a catch-up move by the rest of the market. Johnson & Johnson's a good example. Kind of quietly, not really catalyzed by much obvious, has broken out of the range it had been in for some time.
Order
And
filled.
so yes,
Order
quietly,
filled.
that blend of growth and value that's in healthcare. Also, the idea that the pendulum tends to swing back after
Order filled.
insurers of
Order
any
filled.
kind they've mispriced risk. That should come
Order
back. So we'll see
submitted.
if that does have legs into the fourth.
One more quick check on the FDA, which, as we know, is a very different agency than it has been previously. Another rejection. This of a drug for a very unfortunate disease. It's a rare disease, both and neurological in kids. And you know, there's been certainly the leadership of the FDA has indicated previously a willingness to be flexible on these kinds of things, but not here. Rejecting a rare disease drug for a disease called Friedreich's ataxia, even though it did show a positive trend in terms of allowing for the children to actually sit up. That was the end point.
Come on, give me a little
It
pump.
did not get approved, and the stock in question not getting hit today because they do have another key drug out there as well. But what I'm hearing sort of is more of the choruses are concerned that there will continue to be the no's from the FDA, even when they say they are, quote, flexible. And there's no treatment, by the way. This is a horrible, rare disease for children, and everybody dies.
We'll keep that in mind. Watch bonds today as well. Pretty light day today. We did get starts and permits. We'll get Bowman around 2 p.m. Eastern time before we start getting a little more Fed commentary moving into tomorrow in Jackson Hole on Friday. Even with sort of this limited bond
Come on, give it a
volatility, this is at
Give
the
it a
top of the range last week or two on the 10-year 431. Stay with us.
There you go, baby.
Order
What it feels.
Cool. I'm done with Tick Tick. My $500.
Order canceled.
Let me trade a little more. Let me cancel this puppy trading.
A lot of people need to replace their windows or patio doors, but they put it off
Order
because
filled.
they
Order
think it's
filled.
too expensive. Hi, I'm Ann Rowe.
Order canceled.
Nice.
You really
Nice job,
work
man.
with the customers to find
Let me
affordable
lock this out so I don't touch
We
this
do, Aaron.
one
We're the
all day.
replacement
Lock
window
out.
division of
Yes.
Anderson, one of the largest window manufacturers in North America. So we can usually offer our customers larger discounts and better financing than smaller companies or contractors.
Other
do you mean?
window companies don't offer your same window and door installation method.
Our installers have installed thousands of windows. Our windows are manufactured to precisely fit your specific window openings. Being custom built also
Ask
means if you
Gail.
have any beautiful trim that you'd
I
like to keep,
think
we can install your
think
windows
so, but
without
ask Gail. I'm
compromising
not sure
on
they
trim.
removed that or
You won't
not.
get this with most vinyl windows.
And you offer
Gail
a free
in our
window
Discord.
and patio door diagnosis.
We do. We'll come to your home and assess your current windows, show you where you might be losing energy, and take measurements. Then we'll give you an exact price quote.
So you're not a high-pressure company.
My background is in home remodeling as a carpenter. I've seen every window problem out there. So now I just want to help homeowners make their homes more beautiful and comfortable with the right
Come on,
window.
give me that pump,
And
baby.
your patio doors are really gorgeous.
They are. And they're engineered to easily open and close for years. And with multiple locking
Order
points on our
canceled.
patio doors,
Cool.
they
I'm
provide
guaranteed my payout today.
That's so great to hear, Michael. Thank you.
Before August 31st, buy one window or door and get the next one
Should I aim for
40%
more or
off.
just get
That's
this 550 and
40%
blow?
Plus,
I'm good for $550, but I'm kind of
off
greedy. I want to
each
get some
window and
more.
door with no money down,
Ah.
no monthly payments, and no
This is my
interest for
second
12
pay on
months.
this account.
Call before August 31st
I
to
should try to
schedule
get a
your
little bit
appointment.
more.
1-800-918-0808.
What's low day? 39?
That's 1-800-918-0808.
Order submitted.
What's up? Whoever came in. Oh, Q-Tip, what's up, man? How you doing? You doing good?
That's where Angie came in.
With Angie,
Yeah.
find top-rated
Short
pros
was
in
the
your
play,
area,
man.
Plus, compare quotes and pricing to help you get all your jobs done well. Find top-rated
Yeah.
pros in your area at Angie.com.
I'm done.
Sources to share insights, information, and all of the details that you need to make money.
Closing bell overtime for Easter
Order
next week
submitted.
on CNBC Plus.
Hey, you guys are blowing up. Stick around. Get some freebies, okay? On YouTube.
Morgan Stanley to sell. Today it's an upgrade over at Evercore as they suggest some North American destocking might be ending. Good power gen and data center exposure. It's up a touch, helping the Dow, which is up 143. Stay with us.
When emergency strikes, first responders rely on the latest technology. That's why T-Mobile created T-Priority, built for the 5G era.
Dang, what a pump.
Dedicates more capacity for first responders.
In the age of AI,
I mean, 15 minutes still looks like a good short still, so I'm waiting for higher. I should not touch this Smartphone Future. Yeah, I need to just cancel this one. Let's take my 550 and
Order canceled.
refined by human expertise.
cash out and just leave.
Charlotte AI gets smarter. Your business stays safer, so you can build for tomorrow with confidence and efficiency, and protect what matters most. That's why the businesses you trust CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike. We stop
Yeah.
breaches.
This is my coffee shop. We just moved into a bigger space, brought on another employee,
Let's
and
see how
ordered new
much I
branded
have
gear for the
on
team. It
DVD.
was so
Oh, let me
easy.
up
I just chose my
$230.
product,
That's not
added
bad.
our logo, and placed my order. Bring your own team together with custom gear. Get started today at customink.com.
You buy low, sell high. Jump on that trend. Ride the wave. That's not how investing works. Wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy. And success demands discipline. You're serious about investing. Right?
The digital gold that is data has never been more
Dude,
important.
did they try to find the actual good sell? I'm capped out. Can't buy any. So sorry.
Introducing CNBC Plus, the new streaming platform from the #1 source in business
Oh,
news.
I posted on the Apart from Sub channel. It's cheap evals. Good to YOLO. You can get it and YOLO CPI, no, FMOC next month.
Do we need that?
Here's a paint and primer.
Yeah.
It just says ain't.
You bought a.
Wish I could
Well,
buy
we're
it,
fair.
leave
You
it,
paid a
and
whole room
wait.
for under $100. How much did you spend?
September, no, October 15th. No, I can't wait that long.
All paint's the same.
No, they're not. Don't overpay for your next project. Get fair quality at an everyday low price. Only at the Home Depot.
Drive Time makes it easy to buy a car.
Yeah, already approved. That was easy.
Yep, and you can even customize your own terms on every car.
Oh, there's a little slider thing. I can change my down payment?
Yeah, and we have thousands of cars under 15 grand.
Never had this kind of power. Low it down option. Low monthly payment option. My baby, my low deal.
Welcome to Car Buying Made Easy. This is the commercial. Go get your real deal at drivetime.com.
Home Depot has been hosting its earnings call this hour. Let's get to Courtney Reagan with some highlights. Morning, Court.
Hi, Carl. Yeah, so despite missing the street's expectations for earnings and revenue for the first time since May of 2014,
$30 for 50K is cheaper than Apex. Apex need to come up with 90%.
Disappointed slightly, only the second positive comp in 11 quarters, though. Sales did continue to get stronger each month of the quarter, and McPhail just said, the
Yeah,
CFO,
well, it's better
on
than
the
40
call,
than
that momentum has
Apex.
continued into the first 2 weeks of the current quarter. CEO Ted Decker told analysts on the call that it was the highest comparable sales for the highest number of departments in almost 2 years. Now, McPhail told me that the biggest home improvement projects are still being delayed. The retailer is unsure when or what will push those projects from delay to start, or alternatively, being canceled altogether. But on the call, Decker gave a little more insight.
The #1 reason for deferring the large project is general economic uncertainty. That is larger than prices of projects and labor availability, all the various things we've talked about in the past. By a wide margin, economic uncertainty is #1.
Now, Home Depot told me that
Let me see the
most of its
3
inventory
minutes.
did come in
I think we're already at the
before the new tariff
bottom.
rates went
Yeah,
into effect for
I
the
think it
quarter
still
just
can drop a
reported.
little bit
With Home
more.
Depot reaffirming guidance for the second half because of that accounting method, it is possible that
Order
they could see
canceled.
profit propped up.
Yeah, I was shorting at 715.
You've been
This
all over
whole
that
pump
court. I look
earlier.
forward to learning more as we work our way through
I'm
the
gonna
week.
put 715
Orders
again
submitted.
if
Mike,
we
appreciate
hit.
the help. Depot's actually helping the Dow, best performing component, up 4%. When we come back,
Oh, we do have Nvidia ER next week. We can YOLO those Tradeify. I need her to blow some of these funded ones.
When left is right and right is left. Which way have you done? Go beyond the headlines. A trusted
Order
global
submitted.
event. Know which way is up.
A lot of people need to replace their windows or patio doors, but they put it off because they think it'll be too
No, I
expensive.
think the fun is
Hi,
over.
I'm
It's just
Ann
chop
Romer.
now.
I'm here with Michael Smith from Renewal by Anderson. You really work with the customers to find
That was actually fun earlier.
We do.
A lot of
We're the
movement.
replacement window
Love it.
division of Anderson, one of the largest window manufacturers in North America. So we can usually offer our customers larger discounts and better financing than smaller companies or contractors.
Other window companies don't offer your same window and door installation method.
Our installers have installed thousands of windows. Our windows are manufactured to precisely fit your specific window openings. Being custom built also means if you have any beautiful trim that you'd like to keep, we can install your windows without impacting that trim. You won't get this with most vinyl windows.
And you offer a free window and patio door diagnosis.
We do. We'll come to your home and assess your current windows,
show you where you might be losing energy, and take measurements. Then we'll give you an exact price quote.
So you're not a high-pressure company.
My background is in home remodeling as a carpenter. I've seen every woman's problem out there. So now I just want to help homeowners make their homes more beautiful and comfortable with the right window.
And your patio doors are really gorgeous.
They are. And they're engineered to easily open and close.
Damn, Greg, you only got 5 points?
And with multiple locking points
Where
on
you
our patio
been?
doors, they provide even greater security.
That is so great to hear, Michael. Thank you.
Before August 31st, buy one window or door and get the next one 40% off. That's 40% off. Plus, get an additional $45 off each window and door with no money down, no monthly payments, and no interest for 12 months. Call before August 31st to schedule your
I
appointment.
don't want to short because the 3 minutes close to the bottom.
That's 1-800-918-0808.
How long we hit low a day?
At AG1, our
That's just
customers
short,
deserve
yeah.
the best, and the best just got much better. AG1 Next Gen has launched with upgraded B vitamins and probiotic blends backed by gold standard clinical trials. It's time for the next generation of AG1.
Get exclusive reporting and data on high net worth investors, family offices, and alternative investments from the foremost authority on private wealth, Robert Frank.
More than $100 trillion will pass to younger generations. But today's wealthy invest differently. It's not just about stocks and bonds, but also real estate, classic cars, and fine art.
Get the weekly newsletter and special access to events at cnbc.com/insidewealth.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to Squawk on the Street. I'm Sarah Eisen with Carl Quintanilla and David Faber, live as always for post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Stocks are coming back from some lower levels earlier this morning. S&P 500 unchanged right now. Why? Because some of the groups are doing well. Real estate's up 1.25%. Consumer staples, materials, discretionary, healthcare, financials, utilities, and industrials all higher. But technology is under pressure. It's why the Nasdaq comp is down about 0.5%. So relief in some of the rate-sensitive sectors, also relief in some of the cyclical sectors this morning as well. Despite some gains in tech in Palo Alto and Intel, we'll talk about some of those moves in a moment. As for treasuries, we kick off the week. The focus is on Jackson Hole later in the week. Fed Chair Powell's speech. There's buying today. The yields are lower, 4.3% on the 10-year.
I wouldn't long yet, dude. 15 minutes is still got more downside. I always use the 15 minutes to see the longer term.
As the cybersecurity company climbs this morning on strong
Oh, yeah, opening is going to dump later.
Intel, SoftBank, betting big on Intel shares surging. We'll talk
Yeah.
about what's behind the company's multi-billion-dollar investment
No, I don't
in the chip
think
maker.
Bookmap's that
Whether
great.
the U.S. government stake could be coming next. But first, guys, as we look ahead to the week, we are getting
You
some
down
big
a lot?
retailers reporting, and the view on the U.S. consumer continues to evolve.
Okay, that's good.
Value is a word that I
Don't
continue
blow
to
that one.
hear.
That's all you have.
Consumer is resilient,
You don't have an
and yet,
eval, do you?
you know, there's still some issues
Okay.
out there. So let's start with Home Depot, for instance. They talk about a consumer that's making choices out there. The Home Depot
You gotta
CEO,
get back into the positives. You don't mess up your winning streak.
went on through the quarter. We definitely saw broader engagement across the portfolio.
That dump was nasty earlier,
Across
though.
the most departments.
I knew you asked us to long.
Pro and consumer engaged broadly across the business. But granted, in smaller projects, we still haven't seen the recovery in the much larger.
I think we bounced. The screens are almost gone. The one I told you earlier before open, there was a whole bunch of bare screens. We only got one left now.
Cruising customer. Really strong demand, according to the CEO there, from our consumers. In fact, we had an outstanding June and July, and we continue to see that booking strength continued into August.
Yeah.
I would say
What's
the
up,
same for
Google?
Amer Sports, which owns, you know, a lot of sort of Arc'teryx.
What's up, Google?
And DTC momentum continues to be fueled by both
What's
new and
up,
existing
Google?
consumers across all regions, channels, and product categories. We'll get Target, Walmart later in the week for a read on the consumer, but so far not too shabby.
Yeah, definitely bottom up sounds better than top down.
Are you still in your
Handed out
short?
with a good note yesterday that
QT?
household real after-tax income is growing at about a 1% annual rate. Obviously, a little bit lower than what inflation's running. So we'll see. Hopefully, Jackson Hole can maybe give the market.
Yeah, I'm gonna cancel my 715.
Order cancel.
I don't want to short
Either
anymore.
cancel either scenario where Powell says
played
Fed is
down
speaking, right?
expectations for a rate cut in September because of hotter components of the latest inflation reports. That would be a disappointment to the markets, or says, we're on track. We just need to see some more good inflation numbers, like Wolfie said on Friday. As for, consumer and trying to read the tea leaves, you mentioned the Pantheon note. I noted the Bank of America note. They looked at deposits. So throughout COVID, right, checkings and saving deposits were really high because of stimulus checks and people were at home and they were saving more. This is by income group, and the little dotted line in the middle there they're looking at is sort of inflation adjusted 2019 levels. So during COVID, you can see it boomed way above the pre-COVID levels. That's checking and savings. And right now, it's definitely come down, but it's still above the 2019 inflation adjusted levels. What does that tell you? There's still a little bit of a cushion out there for the consumer in their deposits on checking and savings, which, we wonder sometimes, how does the consumer remain so
I'm
remarkably
scared of
resilient,
Trey now.
everything that's been thrown at them, inflation and tariffs and this and that. We still have that buffer out there on deposits, and that's been helpful.
And a lot of that's coming from the older generation, which has got a lot of home equity, and they are intent on spending a lot of the money rather than passing it down. It's been a long thesis of Ed Yardeni, sort of this boomer nest egg, pig in a python thing that's moving its way through the economy over
Yeah,
time.
they've got the money. They're enjoying it. That's a big demographic shift.
This is when Sarah turns to me and asks me what I'm thinking about this. Is it true?
Check this well.
I love it, yeah.
How are you spending your boomer money?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Are you going cruising?
No, that's the one thing I don't
What
do.
did about
But yes,
went
I've heard
long
catching up
on
spending.
ES.
Sorry, kid.
Let me see if NQ. No, NQ is not going long yet, but it looks like we're gonna go up some more. So careful shorting. Right away for 800.
S&P 500, the cybersecurity software company beating top and bottom line expectations for its quarter and giving strong guidance as well. CEO Nikesh Arora joins us now. First on CNBC. Nikesh, it's great to see you. Welcome. You say that this reflects a fundamental market shift
I don't even know
for
what to do.
consumers. Explain what you're seeing.
Consumers, but I think what it would be meant is it reflects a fundamental market shift in the cybersecurity industry. Like, as you can see, there's a tremendous amounts of conversation in every company out there about AI. Everybody's trying to figure out how to not lose the race as AI transforms every piece of technology, whether it is in the large language model space or in every company that is trying to deploy AI to make their employees more productive or make sure their customer interactions are more amazing. So in that context, it is a major shift because there's no macro winter in technology. Everybody's trying to figure out how to solve this problem, and you cannot solve this problem without getting the security parts of it right.
So how does that exactly work as the world shifts into, as the enterprise world shifts more into AI and agentics? What does that mean for their cyber needs? They spend more?
Well, look, sir, look, in the last 6 months, we are all hearing this narrative that there's going to be more agents than humans running around trying to help you manage your enterprise. And if you believe that agents are going to subsume the number of humans working on things, these agents need to be controlled. They need to be managed in some way, shape, or form. They're going to need access to every critical system that exists in an enterprise. They're going to need access to critical infrastructure.
Can you solve that problem now?
We're trying hard. If anybody can, we can. As you saw, we're trying to buy CyberArk, which is one of the largest identity businesses in the world, and that's going to create an inflection in identity. It's all agentic work, and that's why we're trying to get ahead of the problem and work with CyberArk to see if we can get a solution in place before our customers start deploying agents en masse.
Got it. Everyone always wants to know, all the investors and analysts, about your platformization strategy, I guess, where you the way you sell to customers and sort of consolidate all of the solutions. How much of that is reflected in these numbers, and how much more benefit do you see ahead from this?
Look, we did a fundamental shift in our business about 2 years ago. We said we're solving the wrong problem. We were trying to solve the problem of providing the best solution for a particular problem in cybersecurity. Until we got to the point saying, listen, somebody needs to become the Salesforce of cybersecurity.
Are you on
Somebody
the
needs to
long?
become the Workday of cybersecurity or ServiceNow of cybersecurity. And what that means
Okay.
is we just stop
I'm looking
solving
for
problems
another
on a
dip back in
point-by-point
long.
basis, but we need to solve the problem at a fundamental platform level. Bring all your data in one place, analyze the cybersecurity problem, and block bad actors from getting into your systems. And that shift in our company 2 years ago resulted in this platformization approach. We're seeing amazing success so far. It's early days. We did our largest number of platformizations in Q4, about 150 of them. But I think, Sarah, what's important is we announced one of our largest deals where a customer spending $50 million a year with us. This is unheard in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity was made up of customers spending $100 million across 70 vendors and trying to stitch them together themselves. Now you can come to Palo Alto, solve the problem, save money, get a better security outcome, and not have to worry about stitching these things together. So it's actually a big shift in the industry. We think the industry is going to continue down this path, and hopefully we have a lead in ahead of most of our competition in this matter.
Early days, you say. So expect more of a bigger impact ahead.
Well, we've set a target of doing about 3,500 of these in the next 5 years, and we're only at 1,500, so we got to do more than we've already done. And we continue to see acceleration, momentum, and customer adoption, and our sales force are gearing up to be able to go out and do that effectively.
You did announce in this release that your founder and CTO is retiring. I'm curious if there are any concerns about the optics of that or customer response to that.
Look, Nir is an amazing guy. He's a legend in cybersecurity. He conceives the next generation firewall.
See,
Palo Alto's
3
DNA
minutes
is about
still got
creating next generation
room.
products.
15 minutes still
he's
show
been very
going
instrumental in
down.
our success so far. He's getting itchy. He wants to go ahead and do something more interesting. He's going to continue to be associated with Palo Alto. His name is etched in everything at Palo Alto Networks, and he's going to be a friend and advisor to the company. So he's not going far. And Lee Kladich, who has been there from the early days, is going to step in his shoes and take over the chief technology officer role so that he can complete the vision that Nir had for the company. So it's well managed, well contained, and we wish him tremendous amounts of luck and thank him from the bottom of our heart.
Nikesh, I'm thinking back a few quarters ago, maybe it was last year, where maybe the space was under some pressure. And one of the theories was there hadn't been a lot of high-profile breaches of security that would drive interest in the space. And I wonder at this point, if you think if we were to get one, let's say, would that be positive or negative?
Well, it does draw attention to the matter, and I don't wish a breach to anyone. But there have been many breaches. There are consistently breaches happening on a constant basis. I think the more important problem that the breaches are getting faster. When I started in this business 7 years ago, you can get away solving a security breach in 2 days or 4 days. Now, the time from attack till exfiltration data is 25 minutes. You got to solve the problem in 25 minutes, right? If you take longer than 25 minutes, your infrastructure is not good enough. I think one of the things that we're noticing is many of our customers have tremendous amounts of cybersecurity technical debt, and they have to work on replacing their existing infrastructure, which has been around for 15 or 17 years. And I think that's the opportunity for us ahead. So it's not about the breaches, but it's about the pace.
Damn, that was a good short if it didn't hit.
It doesn't help the good guys as much as it helps the bad guys, because they have to be right once. We have to be right 100% of the time.
What is the really bad scenario when it comes to AI? You said helping the bad guys. Like what do we have to be worried about?
Well, Sarah, we talk about agents, and I give the example of the best agent out there today that looks like a full-formed agent is a Waymo or a self-driving car. This is an agent that decides when to drive, when to stop, when to brake, where to go. Imagine if that agent got hijacked. My kids are in the car, or the car starts driving at a breakneck speed, or the car takes me where I don't want to go. That's a simple solution. But imagine the worst-case scenario of somebody taking over that agent. Imagine the agent managing all the infrastructure you're building, your heating, your cooling. Imagine the agents managing radiation and nuclear plants. You can imagine all the scenarios where you believe AI is going to be very helpful, but in the wrong hands, it can have more disastrous impact than you can have from a not having an agent.
That's a disaster. All right. Well, hope you can get working on that. Nikesh, thank you. We appreciate the time today. Earnings. Nikesh Arora, CEO of Palo Alto. Here's our roadmap for you for the rest of the hour. After the break, Treasury Secretary Bessent telling CNBC the Fed should play a big role in driving housing affordability. We'll talk about the part of housing inflation, that part of the equation next.
Plus, will the U.S. take an equity stake in Intel? What the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, told us this morning. The stock is now up double digits on this session.
And is Tesla speeding past the self-driving competition? We'll talk to an analyst who says the
Yeah,
robotaxi
big
feels,
time.
quote, more luxurious for half the cost. As Squawk on the Street continues after this break.
Yeah, 3 funding ticks,
Oh, so you robotaxi rock stars. Well, that's as ridiculous as rock stars.
and then tick profit.
The AI agents are making you all rock stars. Sorry. Proceed.
So that's a slide. Any questions?
And now with Workday, we can manage our people and AI agents. I'm sorry.
Who are they? Oh, interns.
We're interns. See you tomorrow.
When you're actively trading, the fees really start to add up. Public is the only platform that offers rebates on your option trades, which help offset those costs. It's a simple way to help me keep more of what I earn.
Some allergy medications can make you drowsy, but Allegra is different. Traffic jam? We got this. See, on time.
Allegra is fast 24-hour allergy relief with 0% brain interference. It's a no-brainer.
For your phone. With Verizon, everyone gets a free phone on any plan. And now I have Google Gemini. Here's another beauty tip. Shh, let's keep this between us. Get in on this.
Once Upon a Bedtime, the
All
newest
right.
Disney Princess collection arrived at Rooms to Go Kids with iconic beds starting at $477, crafted with golden accents, LED lights, sparkling canopies, and more. Every room is full of magic. Every night feels like a bedtime ball. Each day, a new adventure. Creating a fairy tale escape has never been easier. With fast delivery and expert setup, you get the royal treatment. Happily Ever After starts here. Shop the Disney Princess collection at Rooms to Go Kids.
Cool.
A few days away now from that crucial speech by the Fed Chair Jackson Hole, where investors will look for any signals on the next rate move. Treasury Secretary Bessent was on Squawk this morning. He talked about the Fed's impact in many things, but especially on housing affordability.
Home building is struggling. And you were asking me about interviewing Fed candidates, and there's the ability. Everyone has the
3
ability.
minutes
to look
looks
at
like
the
it's
current
still
data,
good
but
for
let's just
long.
think
I'm going to
about
make
if
let it
we
dip a
keep,
little bit more.
constraining home building, then what kind of inflation does that create 1 or 2 years out? So a cut here could facilitate a boom or a pickup in home building, which will keep prices down 1-2 years down the road.
Joining us this morning to discuss, former Bridgewater Chief Investment Strategist Rebecca Patterson's here, Post 9 RP. Good to have you back.
Hey, good to be here.
So we got starts today.
Yep.
And permits 4 straight months down. We haven't done that since 2008. Is the Treasury Secretary right about this stuff?
Look, if the Fed cuts rates, all else equal, that supports growth, it puts liquidity in the market, that might help the consumer to buy a home. But you've got a couple other challenges here that I think the secretary could have added to his list. So you have input costs. The tariffs are not necessarily helping that. You have labor costs. Immigration is not helping that right now. Insurance premiums. Insurance has skyrocketed for housing. That's something that could be looked at. But the main thing I'd focus on is that mortgage rates are set on the 10-year yield, not the Fed funds. And what we saw last year when the Fed was cutting, what we saw from the Bank of England earlier this month, is even when we got rate cuts, that spurred expectations for more growth and inflation, which pushed up the 10-year yield. So it hurts housing. So I think it's a lot more complicated than just the Fed cutting equals a housing boom.
Right. Mortgage rates bottomed last fall just as the Fed began to cut, as you say.
Correct.
Why do we take this notion as gospel that if the Fed cuts, mortgages will be cheaper?
I don't.
And
Hey, that usually happens. It didn't happen last year, but generally the 10-year yield, or certainly the 2-year follows the
I
Fed
want to
funds
see
rate.
640 again or 650 so I can long.
Part of what we're dealing with now is just a different regime in that inflation being higher and stickier changes how the 10-year is reacting to policy changes, right? So when we were in a world for 20 years-ish with extremely low inflation, the only thing we were watching was jobs and the Fed. So if the Fed's cutting, it helps jobs and all is good, right? And if the Fed is cutting because we have a recession, people are going into bonds for diversification, for safety. If we're in a more inflationary regime, where do you want to keep your money to be safe? Equities are actually a better inflation hedge than bonds, all else equal. So bonds being the diversifier is more of a question than it has been for the last 20 years, and bonds reacting in an inflationary environment, in a supply-demand challenged environment. They're not going to behave the same way to Fed cuts that we've seen in the last 20 years when inflation was low. We're just in a different place.
But the controversial thing there is that you are preparing for an inflationary environment where we might not be going into an inflationary environment. I get that the tariffs are coming through, but it's coming at a time where we're also starting to see pressure on the labor market. We're also starting to see companies deploy AI at this unprecedented rate, and all of that pushes away from inflation.
So I agree with you on the labor market piece of it. We are starting to see more signs of a softening labor market. I think we will see a lot more as we go into the end of the year and next year. If you look at the Conference Board CEO survey that just came out, 34% are expecting job cuts in the next 12 months. That was larger than those expecting a higher. First time that's happened since COVID. So we're going to see an acceleration of jobs cuts as companies try to control costs. So that part I agree. If the labor market softens enough, the Fed cutting may pull down long-term yields. And it might pull down inflation as well. The part I'm a little less sure about is that AI productivity, disinflationary Goldilocks boom. When does it happen? To what degree does it happen? I think it's probably out there, but even when you talk to the hyperscaler CEOs, they don't know. They don't know the timing. Right now, I think we're really in the build-out phase. Companies are
I asked him, did he cash out? He never replied back, and he said that the long fucked him yesterday and asked him, did you trade a TPT that you'll guarantee a payout?
Taking place are more as a result of all the spending
No
that's going
answer,
on as
so
well, and just to
yeah,
offset some of that,
scroll up.
as opposed to anything from the efficiencies already being brought to bear from AI in the enterprise?
That's what I'm hearing from CFOs that I'm speaking
More than
with.
4,500, it'd be 9K. You have to go under the buffer too.
Pressured by our CEOs, our shareholders, our boards to invest in AI and reap the
If he
efficiencies.
blew that,
That's
it's
great, but
gone.
it costs money up front. And if you're at a time where the economy is uncertain and you want to control costs, if I'm
Look,
spending on AI
I sent you the DM.
infrastructure, I have to find an offset
He
somewhere
said,
else.
bro, we got fucked
Part of
last
that,
night
I think
long.
it's going to come through headcount, either hiring fewer people or actually trimming headcount a bit. And I think that's ahead of us. I think it's just begun.
I don't know. But that's back to back. That's just greedy. Like any payout, just take it. Like my funded futures, I'm set for 550. I'm just gonna take that and run. I don't want to try to get more.
Intel shares are surging as the company gets a multi-billion-dollar lifeline from SoftBank.
Yeah, man, you're not doing it but sitting and clicking buttons and you're making 500.
Told us about that. Tesla, are the robotaxi dreams for real? We'll talk to an analyst who says the
Yeah,
company could be
but he was up a lot. Oh, and he resetted that pro too. Wasn't that 1,500? Oh my god. Yeah, that's yeah, yeah. I know today's bad. I can't blame anybody today because long and short both getting fucking just oversized.
Two guys with a dream and a little help from Walmart. We make coffee that supports our community, and Walmart's played a big part. You know, most of what Walmart spends was the products made, grown, or assembled right here in the U.S. So we can invest back into our community. Walmart, huh?
15 minutes still looks bad. I always look at those for like longer term, so I think we dip again. See, QT understand.
Doing things the hard way, like doing their finances with a spreadsheet instead of using Quicken. Quicken pulls all your financial info together in one place and updates it automatically. How easy is that?
When I started Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses, I needed a website. And GoDaddy Hero uses AI to make a beautiful website so fast it'll blow my customers' noggins.
while they're shopping for goggins for their noggins.
We just signed the lease on our third shop. My assistant went to customink.com to get new uniforms with all the locations. He found great products, uploaded new art, and had boxes sent to all the shops. Custom Ink makes it so easy. Get started today at customink.com.
It's in the chop era, so don't want to touch anything. Way too low day and just go long.
I didn't like the person looking back at me in the
Dive
mirror.
down.
I never thought I could afford dental implants. You and your team worked within my budget and helped me feel confident in the plan we made together. I love my new smile. Thank you.
Congratulations, Cynthia.
Introducing our new lifetime warranty on zirconia arches, only at Clear Choice. Call to schedule a free consultation.
The digital gold, that is data, has never been more important.
I know we're prepared. We've done the hard work.
Do have the short at 725, just didn't hit. Yeah, it would be great if it hit.
She called her. Oh, we actually sold the twins' naming rights.
Yeah, stadiums
Nice.
did. Very lucrative.
Oasis for you, Pan and
Ooh,
Spa.
look at that drop.
As absurd as you think. Worldwide exchange. Weekdays 5 a.m. Eastern.
What? No.
Plus.
Hot still short, 665. Yeah, ES went long. Yeah.
Championship. Streaming on Peacock.
I don't touch ES.
Take a
Too
look at
slow.
shares of Intel, almost 9% this morning. Of course, we've got a couple of different sets of
Longer
news.
term, shorts is good on
Is
AQ
gonna take a $2 billion stake.
because of the
That's new
15
equity
minutes.
being issued by Intel, so they'll reap the benefits of $2 billion, but there will be
Nice.
dilution
Just short.
as well. It's about a 2% stake based on the current market cap. And then we've got the U.S. potentially
On your
weighing
funded or
10%
eval?
stake in the company. In fact, more or less confirmed by Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick when we talked about it in the last hour when he basically said America should get the benefit of the bargain. And if we're giving the company $100 billion, what's in it for the American taxpayer? And the answer is we get an equity stake for our money. So it would seem to me that he made it pretty clear that is certainly under consideration, if not moving forward. When I asked the question about whether the U.S. would also get any governance along with that 10% stake, here's what he had to say. Do you get governance here?
Ooh, we might drop
By the way,
more.
once you're in for 10%,
3 minutes looks like it's curving down. Hope we get lower day. Ooh.
No, stop that stuff. It's not governance, right? We're just converting what was a grant under Biden into equity for the Trump administration.
I get that. I get that. I just asked if you're going to get governance. You own 10% of the company. You don't. Why? I mean, why wouldn't you want
non-voting?
Okay.
No, stop.
You only did. Wait, you said you blew 2 PA?
I'm listening to it. I didn't realize. Yeah, I guess I had to stop.
Oh, no. Well, ETF is cheap, so it's okay. It's okay in ETF. The Apex is good, right?
U.S. Steel. The Commerce Secretary made that clear. That was a separate set of
damn.
issues that resulted in that there. But it's a fair point to ask in terms of governance, whether or not it is something that the U.S. feels that it would want. I mean, the president not long ago was calling without any equity stake for the firing of the CEO. That obviously has been reversed. So
Hey,
we'll
this
see
one
how this
payout
develops.
cover everything, so that's good.
The point that
Ooh, careful with it long now. It's not looking good.
building the facts that we need. Many certainly would agree
Order
with the Commerce
canceled.
Secretary for our national
Wow, look at that.
Order filled.
Order
Order
filled.
submitted.
Quick little long. You can catch the knife or something.
but not as helpful as just getting money.
With this report,
Let me
Analytics
catch his
is
knife.
being walked to the edge of the cliff. With
Wow.
no secure anchor at the
I wish
other
my
end.
725 hit
Intel
earlier. I
might
would be
find
so
new
happy.
primary equity capital, however, that capital might not guarantee
Order
successor
submitted.
customers for 14A.
Yeah, and we didn't get to
Wow, what a
part of that when
drop.
he kept telling me to stop. Whether there would be potential for follow-on investments, because to your point, Carl, I think the key question is
Order
second
filled.
Order filled.
where does the other money come from? And when the Treasury
Order
Secretary
submitted.
was asked about the potential Intel deal earlier, he indicated when it comes to customers, we're not going to force customers to use Intel.
Order filled.
Order filled.
The SoftBank
Okay, I'm
investment
just trying to
and,
long now.
potential partnership with
There we
ARM.
go.
Order filled.
Another big SoftBank holding. I
Order submitted.
Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
ARM is obviously it's 90% owned by SoftBank. It's controlled by SoftBank. This is obviously very small.
Let me check the
investment,
3
but it
minutes.
does
3
go, Sarah,
minutes.
towards the idea that there may
Looks
be
like
a
it's
turnaround
curving
in
down.
price of Intel. It is perhaps a sign of
Order filled.
Order filled.
faith in
Order
Order filled.
Liputan and his strategy.
Order
So, and I'm
submitted.
starting to hear that a little bit in
Wow.
investment circles. But again, I think the key question becomes how much
Order
capital
canceled.
Order filled.
and how are they going to
Order
get
filled.
Order filled.
Order submitted.
I'm curious to get Jim's take when he gets back, because he has been so constructive on Liputan, although frustrated with all of the delays.
Yeah.
And the way they leveraged.
Yeah, I don't want to touch my fund futures. Let me log out so I don't touch that. Too scary.
Consolidation, obviously something we followed closely here, certainly after Union Pacific's move. to
Order
buy Norfolk
filled.
Southern.
Order submitted.
They've yet to submit their application to the STB, but you know there is a belief that the
Order
administration is
filled.
certainly
I need to touch
supportive
my
of the idea of
Apex.
creating a transcontinental railroad, perhaps more than even one. And by the way,
Order
I would note the
submitted.
performance of CSX this morning up some 2%, which continues to be something that is discussed as a potential target of Berkshire Hathaway's Burlington Northern Rail, and whether or not we will see a deal there. It
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
much
Don't
less
get
clear
that.
Canadian Pacific
Trade
would
Deposit's
ever
much
wanna try
better
to
because
do
it's so
something,
cheap.
given the first name there and their name.
Yeah, and
Especially,
they don't
and any
deny
number of
payouts.
other reasons as well. But
Never
we're still on the
go,
lookout
never
for,
pick
you know,
Apex
whether
over
there will
Trade
be a
Deposit. It's
CSX
cheaper.
deal, and there is this question as to whether the Trump administration is fully
And you don't need a
behind
buffer
this
on
idea
Trade
of the
Deposit.
consolidation. Take a listen to what Lutnick had to say.
The concept of making it more efficient to get across the country is
Order
obviously
filled. Order filled.
Order filled.
we are applaud. How to get there,
Order
I don't
submitted.
know. That's not our issue. But the fact is, we need to have a
Order
more
filled.
efficient rail system for
Order
cross-continental
submitted.
rail.
It's up to the STB, of course. There's a public benefit. These are the new rules, more stringent than
Nice.
the
Order filled.
Order filled.
Order submitted.
Canadian Pacific deal.
Now you gotta pay the
American
140.
Southern was under. So, but it'll be interesting. You know, some are taking that as a fairly robust
New low day.
response,
Oh, let me
a
check my
positive
puts. My
green
puts
light,
are
and I think
green.
others are sort of, well,
Still holding
okay,
it
he
though.
did defer to the STB. We'll have
Up
to see.
$60.
I don't think that's surprising that he deferred to
No,
them. It's their
not at all.
decision. What is the market betting as far as what that decision will be?
I think there's an expectation that it will be positive
Check
given the
my
composition
funding.
of the STB members.
Order
as well.
canceled.
Order filled.
But it's going to take a long
Order
time.
submitted.
They haven't yet made their application. That could
Order
be another
submitted.
number of months before that's even done, and then you're talking about 18 months at least of a regulatory period. We'll see. I think, you know, in this administration, though, if the president really gets behind something, it tends to add a lot of momentum.
Well, you heard what he said. Efficient railroads are something we can all get behind.
Yes.
Order
Order filled.
Woo, nice. Got that.
CNBC News Update. Silvana now has that for us. Morning, Silvana.
Yeah.
Well,
Get
Israel
it.
says it is studying Hamas's
Order
response
submitted.
to a Gaza ceasefire proposal that would see fighting pause for 60 days and the release of half of the Israeli hostages still held in the enclave. And that is according to Reuters, which reports the proposal also includes a partial withdrawal of Israeli forces and the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Israel currently controls 75% of Gaza. Air Canada and its roughly 10,000 unionized flight attendants reached an agreement today to end a nearly 4-day strike. The carrier
Order
serves
submitted.
about 130,000 people a day, said it could take a week or longer to fully resume operations, and the details of the
Now,
negotiations
let me set up the
were
race for
not
fun and picks.
immediately released. And Hurricane Aaron weakened to a Category 2 hurricane today, but the National Hurricane Center says the storm is expected to get larger throughout the week as it moves over the Atlantic Ocean.
Everybody
The
thumbs
storm
up, right?
forced evacuations
I'm not gonna
of
tag
parts of the
everybody. I
Outer
should
Banks
tag
in North
everybody.
Carolina
Take a chance.
because of the potential for waves up to 20 feet and life-threatening rip currents and surf, but it is not expected to make landfall, Carl. We watching.
Definitely going to bring some rain on the East Coast there. Thank you, Silvana. Coming up after the break, William Blair's analyst sounding a bullish tone
I'll
on
give it a
Tesla
couple
today.
minutes.
Get some
Just let some
details
people
on the
thumbs up so they can
forecast
get
for the
in.
robotaxi business. And watch Collins here as we go to break. It's down sharply, worst performing S&P here, down more than 6%, down about 14% from its high of 190. That was 4 days ago. Stay with us.
I don't have a website, Noodle. Oh, you're talking about that website where you bought the $50 one? I'll DM you. Oh, Tradify. Okay. What's up?
Experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Yeah. You have to turn it on though. I think it's auto off. You have to turn it on the Traderbait mobile app. Okay.
Customink.com. New projects means new project managers. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
At Public, the high of cash account's a no-brainer. I know my money's working hard for me, and I know I can access it anytime I need it. It's very
Sorry.
simple. Better rates mean faster growth, and that's exactly what I need.
I thought you're a bear. I thought you'd be shorting all day today.
Never thought this would happen.
We got you.
We got you.
When the unexpected comes calling, call the one team prepared for what no one can predict. We got you.
That sucks.
The digital gold that is data has never been more important.
I know we're prepared. We've done the hard work. We're going to keep getting better to serve our clients.
Good shit, dude.
From the order filled.
Order filled. Order filled.
Just a baby. Order submitted.
I didn't know my shit went hit long. Oops.
Ready to explore. I saw potential. Order submitted. But to go through life with purpose, character, and faith. From the beginning, I saw your whole journey.
Come on. Pump it. Pump it. I'm stuck in a long.
Learn more at Abeka.com.
6:15. Yeah.
Order submitted.
I don't know. I forgot to cancel. I was trying to add names on the race. Everything just went long. That'd be fun. I shouldn't panic yet.
A new note from William Blair makes the case that Tesla's robotaxi could eventually
Yeah,
pull
I'm
ahead of
gonna
the competition. It's got a more luxurious
That sizing is pretty good.
cost. Joining us now to discuss this note, William Blair, and it's Jed Dorsheimer. Jed, you say that you may have experienced
Order
the glimpse of the
submitted.
future in referencing your riding in Austin in some robotaxis, and
Alright,
that
I'm about
the
to
comparisons are
start
media
this
tends
race
to-
now.
What do you mean?
Who, talking about Van?
By the way, I think Secretary Lutnick's response to you on Intel feels a
Yeah.
lot like our note this morning. We've definitely hit a nerve here in terms of just
Telling him stop being greedy. Like,
we were down in
money.
Austin last week trialing the the robotaxi, which is a beta version, comes
hurry up,
public in
pump and get
September.
out.
We also trialed Waymo through Uber. In our
No, he
experience
went long
was
and it
surprising.
dumped.
I
I'd
mean,
open. I don't know what happened
the
yesterday.
Tesla drove much
He
more
doesn't short much. He
autonomously,
longs a lot.
felt a lot more like a person was driving that. It was a very comfortable. There were
Okay,
no
let's see who should we
security,
race. Dragon? I think we did the Dragon. We haven't done the Alien yet.
and it surprised me to
Yeah.
to the upside. I was pleasantly surprised by this experience.
Yeah. Well, what were you expecting? I mean, I assume you've ridden in Waymos and the like. So, I'm just curious what your expectations were. And then talk about pricing for me, because I know that also is something you've noted.
I was expecting something that was more like Waymo. And for us, I've taken many Waymo rides. It still feels somewhat robotic, when you are, entering a intersection or taking a left, that you can almost, it feels that the computer is thinking as it's sensing things out, which it is doing. Whereas the Tesla, which the stark difference is Waymo uses LiDAR and uses laser in addition to cameras and vision, where Tesla is a vision only and using its neural net, much more like a person. And,
you know, that it just felt more normal. Now, we've always said, you know, the rest for Tesla is, can they use their expansive network and the training that they're doing in their system to then
Yeah, that tripod is pretty good.
a safety
I'm gonna
that is
start the
similar
race
to
now.
that of what Waymo is doing. And if they can,
Good luck.
then the technical cost is much lower. It's so can they use the lower cost to weaponize pricing as a way to take market share? Because they are, you know, the David in this market. They are the newcomer into the market, and so they need to be the disruptor. And their pricing was half that.
Order submitted.
You know, just in the small sample set of
Yeah, that's music.
You said that your report hit a nerve. I'm just curious, what kind of feedback have you got to say that?
Came up with, you know, 6-minute ads and something about Mary, you know, that people have been led to
There's a midget. Look at that midget. Gambit, you enter, right? I think you did. I hope you did, Gambit. Okay. Give me a pump so I can get out.
Somewhat visceral. It should be worth noting that we recently downgraded Tesla shares because of our concern with the regulatory tax credits.
Everybody's on the trash because of the copy and paste.
So while this is positive, we've also got confirmation that the regulatory tax credits are the market has ostensibly gone to zero, and so that's going to be a margin hit. So
Let him talk.
balanced approach.
There you go. There you go.
It seems to be a hot button.
I'm out on most of it.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's something like they've discussed with Elon himself as well. Obviously, he makes the
Oh, you might win. You might win. No, someone's coming above you. Who is this? Oh my God! No way! We talked about this, Greg. Greg.
Change today, and that is
Order bill.
Oh shit! Something went. Stuff.
Submitted.
All right, race again. We got two more.
see that face. He's like, oh.
I'm gonna. Actually, let me pick another one. I don't like this one.
For the Greeks.
innovation
There we
changes
go.
everything.
Let me do this one.
Order canceled.
You can access the NASDAQ 100 innovators who are rethinking the world. Before investing carefully, read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more. Prospectus at Invesco.com.
This is my coffee shop. We just moved into a bigger space, brought on another employee, and ordered new branded gear for the team. It was so easy. I just chose my products, added our logo, and placed my order. Bring your own team together with custom gear.
There
Get
you
started
go.
today at customink.com.
Yeah. Good luck. Oh my god.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
Oh, wow, that dropped. I haven't got out yet.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
I'm stepping along 618 on one of them. I didn't get out. Let's have it down a little bit. Down 160. I like this one. This one's actually cool. Yeah. That one didn't sell on my TPT Pro. I'm down a lot now. Yeah. The Pro? Oh, man. Oh, look like. Who won? I gotta do. I gotta rewatch the things of who won. I can't tell.
Feels. It's how it's made.
Yeah, let's find out the name of it. Oh, I'm rewatching it.
Both the bottom and top line since May 2014, but stock's trading higher after maintaining its full year outlook. Other major retail reports on deck this week. We've got Target, Lowe's, TJ Maxx tomorrow, and then Walmart on Thursday. Joining us now is D.A. Davidson senior analyst Michael Baker. Michael, it's good to have you. Did you see reason to buy in this report?
Sure, yeah. Although it was a little bit light of expectations, the comps were only a couple basis points light, and it was the best same-store sales number that they've had in more than 2 years. We saw ticket up. The spread versus their comps in the industry were the best since 2020.
Oh, spicy trades. Spicy one. That's spicy. Tag him, make sure he knows.
Seems like the quarter got better from a consumer spending standpoint.
Alright, let's do one more. It's the last one.
But the big question is, do we have to wait until mortgage rates fall for this one to work?
Well, what's happening is that the stock is going to react before mortgage rates come down. In my view, is the Fed is probably going to cut at least once later this year. But as we get into 2026, we're going to have a more aggressive Fed, most likely, given the administration. And so the Fed funds rate will come down. That drives HELOC at the short end, which will be helpful.
Alright, so you can't win again. Later. that's dumb. 1 second. Explain. I think that's it for funding ticks. I'll do TPT in a little bit.
There's been some, I guess it's anecdotal, evidence of ICE arrests being targeted around home improvement, retail properties, Depot in particular. Did that get addressed on the call at all?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It didn't. I expected analysts to ask, and generally something that I would ask, but I thought not recall.
Let me set up the TPT now.
It's an excellent question. It didn't really seem to impact the comps very much because again, best comp that they've had in years.
Let me 618 again.
Based by category, but also by region. So it wasn't as if some regions where there's been a little bit more ice activity are seeing a worse comp than other regions.
Well, I give you credit, Michael. You've been on.
He did, but he messed up on it. He did pass it.
The change in mortgage rates or housing market picture. It's up sharply today.
Yeah.
Keeping price target at 450. Michael Baker, thank you very much for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Depot's almost half of the Dow gain this morning. When we come back, why senior living could be the next big real estate play ahead of this anticipated boom in demand in the next 5 years. And don't miss our interview in just a moment with FTC Chair Andrew Ferguson. We're back in just a moment.
Bugatti Auto Body LLC.
What she call her?
Oh, we actually sold the twins' maiden names.
Yeah, stadiums do. Very lucrative.
Oasis Breeze Can and Spa.
The right money moves aren't as absurd as you think.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Thanks for calling Consumer Cellular, ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction.
Hi, my friend Linda has you guys and gets way better coverage than I do.
Sounds like Linda has you beat.
Not at bowling.
You're breaking up a little.
Are you really ranked #1 in coverage?
Yep, and plans start at just $20.
Oh, we can afford lessons for Linda. You're embarrassing yourself.
At least my phone works.
Switch to the
I'll average down to
network
50.
coverage satisfaction. Call or visit Consumer Cellular today. Confused on where to start with GLP-1 weight loss medication? 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was a simple, straightforward process. See the lowest prices available with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more at getlifemd.com. Nearly 96% of patients would recommend the LifeMD program to other people who want to lose weight. Visit getlifemd.com to check your eligibility for a $0 copay.
Okay, but get your raffle tickets in on TPT. It's on the stream.
Trading session, working with phones, talking sources to share insights, information, and all of the details that you need to make money.
Closing bell overtime for Easter and streaming on CNN.
At Hawaiian Bros, we're always piling on the fresh, gotta have it, island-inspired flavor. Now for a limited time, get a small plate lunch and a medium Coke for just $10. From our 16-hour slow-roasted, pulled to perfection luau pig to the melts-in-your-mouth huli-huli chicken, every bite is made fresh. How fresh? No freezers, no fryers, and no microwaves here. Get your $10 combo today, only at Hawaiian Bros. Travel could be a nightmare. Luckily, you rented your car on Turo. Get the rental planner of a Turo. Rent just about any car, just about anywhere.
Welcome back. The next big real estate opportunity could come from senior living as the industry is on the cusp of a demand boom, especially
Give it a pump.
specifically baby
Pump it up.
boom. Let's get to Diana Owen with this week's property play.
Hey, Carl, yeah, more than 4 million boomers will hit 80 in the next 5 years, and occupancy at senior living communities is hitting new highs.
I sat down with the CEO of Ventas, a senior living REIT with a $31 billion market cap. You can see the stock up about 14% year to date. Deb Cafaro has been at the helm for more than 25 years.
We're buying billions of dollars a year in senior living, and we're seeing returns in the sevens going in with low to mid-teens unlevered IRRs. So there's significant growth in the assets, and we're buying below replacement costs. I've never seen that combination of investment characteristics in my long career in real estate. And so we're fully taking advantage of all of that.
Annual inventory growth at senior living facilities in Q2 dropped below 1% for the first time since NIC began tracking this in 2006. There were fewer than 22,000 senior housing units under construction in the fourth quarter of last year. That's the lowest in over a decade.
Order submitted.
The cost of construction labor, the scarcity of construction labor, the cost of materials,
Okay,
and
the 3 minutes at the
rents
bottom
right
now.
now, you know, what residents
So
pay
bounce should
to
be
live in
coming
our
up later.
communities really isn't high enough to justify a development return.
Cafaro said, even if we got the highest level of new development in senior housing that we've ever had, the population growth more than offsets that. You can hear more from Deb Cafaro in our Property Play video podcast and, of course, the newsletter. If you haven't signed up, please do. cnbc.com/propertyplay or use that QR code. Back to you guys.
As far as today's data, Diana, were you encouraged by the starts headline or discouraged by the permits headline?
I'm going to say I was more interested in the split between single family and multifamily in the data. And that's because we've been seeing this really crazy dynamic in multifamily that for the last 2 years we've been talking about, oh, there's so much supply, record
Yeah, you
supply.
might be able to get out
We're never
alive.
gonna be able to
Down
absorb that.
$300
And
on
guess
his
what?
pro.
We are, because demand for multifamily
Yeah, I
has
need
been so
618.
strong that we're actually seeing occupancies and
I was gonna
rents
average
start to
down.
tick up a little bit. And you saw in those numbers today, starts on multifamily were the driver of the gains in overall starts. You know, we did see a little bit in the single family starts, but I have to say there's this argument, as you were just talking about, mortgage rates coming down and will that help? But, you know, Peter Bukvar was on our air this morning and he said, if you have mortgage rates come down, you just get more demand. What we need is more supply, not just from the builders, because they can't meet it, but from the existing home market, which we're not seeing.
Yeah, Peter Bookvar's been all over this. If you can bring rates down,
Oh, no coffee.
boost demand, but without
You
the
don't want
supply,
coffee?
they're just
No,
going to jack up the
I'll-
price.
Okay, I won't.
more than
No, I'll
offset the
take it.
benefit. It's a tough-
Thank
it's a
you.
conundrum.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, that's fine. I'll take it.
Extraordinary measures in the housing market. Meantime, as we point out, Dow got an interesting high today. Depot was a big part of that, although again a bit of a rotation out of mega cap tech.
still won't get
Palantir
over
is still the
600.
biggest laggard on the S&P. When we come back, shares of Viking Cruises under some pressure post results. We'll break down the numbers with their CEO when Money Movers begins after this.
Yo, Google, the trading price is better than Apex, so you don't have to spend on Apex.
With a shield level annuity from House Financial,
What am I
your
missing?
portfolio
I
can
got
benefit from
I need
growth
spicy.
potential
What is
with level of
spicy?
protection from market volatility to help you follow your plans wherever they take you. House Financial, build for what's ahead. Order filled.
Order filled.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Order filled.
Order submitted.
Order
At
filled.
Capital Group, we take care when crafting our active ETFs.
Order canceled.
Why do I keep forgetting to trade that one take? Let me see what I have on there. I have $100 something. I don't need to trade those.
This hands-on approach that's our active ETF supply so they can make a difference at the core of the portfolio. Because we don't fit molds.
I made 300 on the elite. I don't want to touch that.
Order submitted.
Do some just
Order submitted.
ETFs.
Don't smile. Cover your mouth. Get through it. It's fine. That's not
Order filled.
Order filled.
I just
I want
average
this
down
to be
now.
the last
Got 3 of
I
them.
worry about my smile.
Order canceled.
I need
Third choice dental implants
596.
is the last time. Because you get the security of our lifetime warranty on premium arches. This smile is built for life.
Order submitted.
Age-related memory decline? Meet new QNOL Brain Health, the first and only tablet to
Order
combine 2
submitted.
high-absorption ingredients, clinically shown to improve memory, focus, attention, and more. Trust QNOL for more comprehensive
What a
brain health
dump.
support.
The digital gold that is data has never been more important.
I know we're prepared. We've done the hard work. We're going to keep getting better to serve our clients.
What was the 9-hour vote? I called it a kabuki dance. Some people just have a lot to emote about before they finally vote.
Gambit did bad too.
Squawk Box, weekdays 6 a.m. Eastern, and streaming on CNBC Plus.
Jeez, still dropping.
Tuesday morning again. Welcome to Money Movers.
QQQ bot is short now. Oh damn, I'm up $111 on like
Taking aim at ticket resellers this week, particularly around Taylor
Stay with us.
Get online.
Order canceled.
How's it going, Angela?
AT&T's
Order
internet works in
submitted.
minutes. It's so easy a baby could do it.
Read?
Whose baby is that?
It's okay, I asked.
Who?
The baby.
Why is there a baby in here?
We're setting up the internet. It's a liability. It's just part of my job. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Hi, Nora.
How did he do?
How you doing, Google? You doing good?
He helps set up our internet.
We just signed the lease on our third shop. My assistant went to customink.com to get new uniforms with all the locations. He found great products, uploaded new art, and had boxes sent to all the shops. Custom Ink makes it so easy. Get started today at customink.com.
You buy low, sell high. Jump on that trend. That's not how investing works. Wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing, right?
Meet movie Jason.
Order
Filled.
Yeah, got out one pro, so $35 payout. At least that one's safe.
Order canceled.
Yeah, still down 250 on the other one. I'm still holding that one. I need 596. Still doable.
So we can invest back into
There
our
we go.
community.
Get me out of here.
Order filled.
Oh yeah.
Order filled.
Yeah, I'm cutting all these bag holdings. Gone. Hell yeah. Okay, we drop again all along. 228. 228.
Order submitted.
Travel could be a nightmare. Luckily, you rented your car on Turo.
Order submitted.
Get the rental counter of a Turo. Rent just about any car. Just about
Order canceled. Order submitted.
During the Rooms to Go Labor Day mattress sale,
Ooh,
buy
come
this
on,
queen
save
size
me.
mattress any size and get a second mattress free. That's two for the price of one. Buy the queen size kings down for $8.95. Get the second same size or smaller free. Buy the king size, get another king or smaller free. Buy a full or twin size, the second one's free. It's buy one, get one. Plus, get other great mattress buys on the best brands during the Rooms to Go Labor Day mattress sale.
One of the best animation together in one place. Hulu Animation, your animation destination.
Not gonna shuffle. About to start. There we go. This one's pretty cool. It's actually flying. Wait, I got out. Oh my god, I was down 1,800 on this tick the other straight to final one I have. I got out with $200 profit. That was close. Good thing I had a 4K buffer. Good thing I had that. Now you can get out this TPT and I'm done. Who's winning? Let's go, Gonzalez. I actually like this bird one. It's actually cute. Really cute. Yeah, I don't see you on there. I see Gambit. That's good. I hope Gambit wins. He needs it. Pidgey with Nas at the end, yeah. Last 5 seconds gonna be big. Look at Top G. Let's go, Top G. Where's my girl? Dude, Greg, if you win again, I'm gonna be pissed. I see Kite. 20 seconds. Man, it's third. Oh shit, 4 seconds. No way! Holy shit, man. Boy got it. Yeah, he needed that. That's too loud.
It's always good to
blew
talk to
his TPT Pro. I think he blew all his TPT.
Chairman of the
No, he's
FTC.
not. He's not
When we come
banned.
back, SoftBank betting on Intel with this $2 billion capital injection into the
Because that's
company.
1,500.
What that
That's
means
too
for the
much to
future of the
reset.
American chip maker coming up.
Well, the CEO of cruise operator Viking with us. His outlook for global travel demand with the stock down on some potential concerns around pricing power.
Good. So
Stay
you're
with us.
taking base hit and then you just log off. All right. Good shit.
September 16th in LA, CNBC teams up with two-time NBA champion Kevin Durant and Boardroom for Game Plan.
I'm all green SK. Well,
NHL Commissioner
most of it. I'm just bag holding one TPT Pro.
Opportunities in the business of sports and entertainment. Register now at cnbcevents.com/gameplan.
That's how they get you. They want you to pass one day and then you end up blowing.
Started Walton Goggins goggle glasses, I had no idea what I was doing. But GoDaddy Aero does, using AI to build
Yeah.
a logo,
I
website,
see like
social
Ben
content.
reset and got it to pay on same day. That's just gambling to me. Gambit does it too sometimes. I'll take my sweet time. I don't care. Dude, I post those $30, $50 payout on TPT daily, and on Twitter, people just DM me some nasty shit. Yeah, I was like, you don't know how to trade? What the fuck you cashing out for $20?
The patch is a game changer. No creams,
No.
no pills, no
People are
wires.
just toxic,
the patch
dude.
is reusable and there's a real money back guarantee.
No
Whether it's your
clue
neck,
why they
back,
did
knee,
that.
shoulder, or just aches and pains, this
Then it-
patch can give you your life back.
Yeah,
When I
and then they
gave
call
my
me
best
out
friend
and
the
then
patch with tears in his
research
eyes, he
them
said it was
up.
the first time
They're
in
having fake
16
Lambos and
years he
shit.
did not hurt. Join the hundreds of thousands who found relief. I'm asking you
This
to
is
try
so
the
funny.
Sigma Relief patch today by going to our website.
That's how
If
some
you're
people
thinking
are.
about buying, it means you need
Put down
one.
other people,
You
make
have
them feel
nothing to
better.
lose. I promise the patch works.
Is this your
I
dream
just
of
like my free
retirement?
lunch, so I don't care what
How
people
about
say.
this week deal? Or is this a little more your style?
Yeah.
Retiring well isn't a guarantee, it's a goal. It's easy when markets are
I'm close to Apex on a
What about
payout.
That's
Getting
why
at
you need this.
3,500 soon.
Retirement survival
If I don't mess
featuring
up.
your guide to surviving market volatility. Our stock market outlook,
This
plus
would be the
Fisher
first one.
Investments difference.
Because I don't copy trade. I just started copy trading again. So it's actually helping.
Fisher Investments
What?
disciplined approach will help
Yeah, I
you
do like
manage
sets of 2 or 3 only.
and downs and give you the confidence you need.
Like all my
to take
ETF,
comfortable
those 3 are
retirement. And our
set for
fees are
copy trade because
structured
I only
so
have,
we do better
what,
than
30
our
days to get a
clients do.
payout.
Call
Because it's
now
free
for your
right
free
now.
retirement survival kit. 1-800-213-5317. See if your dream retirement is on track. If your portfolio is $1 million or more, call Fisher today.
And Q to get 600 soon.
1-800-213-5317.
I never considered myself an alcoholic, but drinking affected my job, health, and relationships. A powerful medication helped me take back control. Now I no longer feel the urge to drink, and the same pill that helped me could help you. Text TB to 710-710 to learn more.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
For many of my clients, selling their life insurance to Abacus was right for them and their estate plan.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to
This is a new firm I'm testing,
There are no fees
E8.
and no obligations. Get the
They give
real
you a
value
nice
from your life
buffer for
insurance when you need
150K. I got 6,000 DLL. I'm sorry, DL.
is sponsored by
Yeah.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Project X. I like it because it's 6,000. It's like Tradeify straight to fund at 150K. But this is just Bye.
Justin.